Sit down, brace yourselves, get a cold cup of whatever, or a hot cup. Just put something in a cup, like marbles or grapes or, I don't know, sand, whatever it is that you like. I don't know. I'm not here to tell you about your life, because it's time for the Rage Select podcast right here on Rage Select. And I'm Jeff.
I'm John.
John, what do you like to put in your cup?
Wait, what are we talking about?
When you get a cup, when you like pull up a chair and you get a hot cup or a cold cup, what do you put in the cup? Do you put like coffee, tomato juice, like
water,
spiders,
water, Dr. Pepper?
Okay,
either or.
Yeah,
sometimes Powerade.
Okay, what flavor? What's your Powerade flavor of choice?
The blue one.
I like the fact the blue one has a name, right? It's like Mountain Berry or Mountain Blast or something like that. Something from the mountain. Everybody knows that in the mountains it's all blue, so that's what's going on.
Sure, I
like the way that Powerade is identified mostly by color. Like nobody actually gives a shit what flavor it is. It's just like, give me some of that. I want the orange. I guess orange isn't a good example, but anyway, we have got action this week, John. We've got adventure. We've got actually not very much news this week, but what we do have is controversial, and it's a big thing, and we're going to talk all about it.
Okay.
But before we get to that, what have you been up to, John?
Let's see. So we talked about last week how there was a possibility I was going to go to the movies. I wasn't sure. We did.
Oh my God.
I went and saw the Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, or as it's apparently had its name changed, or while it's in theater, to Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, which is fine, whatever.
Or actually, I've heard a lot of it has just been changed to Birds of Prey, but that it's not an official name change. It's like a change for the theaters, so that they don't have to write this long fucking title when they're like selling tickets or on the ticket. That movie. How was it?
I liked it. It was good. I thought it was really good. Like here's the thing.
Was it better than Venom? That's really
I didn't see Venom, but I can tell you yes. But I haven't seen Venom.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, because I actually at least had an inkling to go see Harley Quinn based on trailers, and which also apparently people are claiming like this movie wasn't marketed at all, and that's been one of the problems that it hasn't been doing very well. Yeah, is that a lot of people didn't know. Like I know people who are like, I didn't even know this was out, or some people who are like, I didn't even know this was a thing, and I'm like, how did you not know? Like I got ads everywhere. Apparently, all the ads were in the places that I look, but everyone else doesn't look in those places.
I mean, I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I can say that I don't think that it came up as a trailer like before as a pre-roll for YouTube stuff for me hardly at all. Or like I don't think I went and sought it out that one week when the first trailer came out, and I was like, oh, this looks fun, but I don't remember seeing it very much outside of that. So.
I don't know. Like I said, I thought it was weird but apparently I'm in like the minority of people who just saw the trailer fucking everywhere. Yeah, or trailers and commercials.
Facebook was like, this guy. Yeah. This is the guy.
And it's like, and I don't even really like Harley Quinn. Yeah. Like my inkling to want to watch it was more from the Birds of Prey side point. I mean, it's first and foremost, it is a Harley Quinn movie.
Right.
It really should have just been titled Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. Like, because I know people who went in wanting it to just be a Birds of Prey movie that also happened to have Harley Quinn in it. And it is a Harley Quinn movie that the Birds of Prey just happened to be in.
I will say that Margot Robbie was the best thing in Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah,
the rest of Suicide Squad
amazing in this movie.
Kind of garbage.
And I will say everyone is amazing. Whether it's Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Huntress or Rosie Perez as Renee Montoya.
Oh, okay.
Or the actress that I which is funny because Rosie Perez was always the actress. I was like, she should play Renee Montoya in a movie, and then she actually got to play Renee Montoya in a movie, and I'm like, I am so happy because that was my pick.
Wait, was it Harvey Bullock in the movie?
No, no Harvey Bullock. I thought they were going to do a Harvey Bullock, but ended up not.
Okay.
They ended up not going that route, and then I don't know the actress's name that plays Black Canary, but she was pretty good as well.
Okay.
As Black Canary, like and then there was the actress who played Cassandra Cain, which, if I have one gripe with the movie, it's that her character could have been called anybody. It shared nothing in common with the Cassandra Cain from the comics. But whatever.
Journey Diane Smollett Bell?
Yeah.
Is that who that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, other than that one tiny gripe, and it's like she's not even a bad character. She's a great character. She's she's the glue that holds the whole movie together.
Okay.
But it's just her character could have been called anything. If you know who Cassandra Cain is in the comics, it's kind of disappointing in that regard. Because I would have loved to have seen that character on the big screen. But like I said,
I heard that they brought in like the action team from like John Wick or something like that to do the action in it.
So there's a scene, like all the fights in this movie are actually really badass.
Okay,
like
that's good to hear.
I was actually starting to worry because like for a good portion of the movie, like at the very beginning, I shouldn't say good portion, but for a point in the movie, up to a point, it kind of felt like that Harley Quinn was being kind of like treated as like, oh, she's a pushover, that without the Joker she's nothing, kind of thing. And she's kind of not getting her ass kicked, but kind of getting her ass kicked by everybody and not really putting up a good fight. She's just kind of like, oh, I guess she does some badass things, don't get me wrong. I don't want to say it's like complete like shit on her or anything like that. Like she's done, like they show her doing roller derby, she breaks a guy's legs, does some other things like it, but it's like there's no actual like fight scenes. And then there's the police precinct scene, and that's all I'm going to say, where Harley Quinn goes to the police precinct. From the moment that starts all the way to the end of it, it is fucking badass.
Okay,
like it is like holy shit. And then there's other fights where they get the birds of prey involved, and that's an awesome fight. Like I really like this movie more than I expected to.
Okay,
like I don't watch a lot of DC movies. Like I haven't watched Aquaman, I haven't watched Wonder Woman, I haven't watched Shazam, and those are the big three that everyone's like, oh, these are really good movies, whereas you can ignore everything else.
And Joker.
Yeah, I haven't watched Joker either. But I really dug this movie.
Okay.
Like more than I thought I would.
Good.
Like I'm not going to say it's the best movie ever made or anything like that, but it's a solid movie. And I actually do think if you have any liking of Harley Quinn or even the characters from Birds of Prey, you should go see it in theaters.
It's interesting when you talk about the movies that you haven't seen, because it's like you stopped watching the DC movies right when the DC movies started to become a little bit better than than the garbage fire that BVS was, and then the Suicide Squad and Justice League and all that stuff. And then it's like, and you were just like, I'm done. And it was like, wait, you stopped just right in the wrong place.
Well, what's funny is I have those movies on Blu-ray. Like I actually, and this is going to actually sound bad. Back when this past Black Friday, like Walmart had a bunch of them on sale, so I just bought those three movies, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Shazam, because everyone said that they were really good. And I think I got them for like $5 a piece.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll buy them for $5 a piece and watch them at some point. I just haven't gotten around to watching them. They're somewhere in my stack of unwatched Blu-rays.
I'd say like no matter what, like I would start with Shazam, because Shazam I think is the best of those. And
I've heard that.
And it was really an enjoyable watch.
Some people I know who have seen Shazam said Birds of Prey was on that level.
Okay, good.
Of fun.
Good.
The only complaint I had with the movie was that the theater I went to, there were fucking 10-year-olds and kids younger than 10 that were in that theater.
Is it an R-rated movie?
It is a R-rated fucking movie. There are curse words, there's blood, there's fucking...
Fucking? There's fucking?
No, there's not fucking. There's no nudity, though I almost thought they were going to do nudity at one point, but they ended up not. But yeah, no, it is, I was like, why and there were more kids between the ages of like 7 and 10 in that theater than there were adults in that theater.
Yeah. Well, John, everybody knows that violent movies don't do anything to kids. It's violent video games that make them into psychopaths.
Yeah.
So
and
they
then, and then there was like one family who to get their kid to, because they apparently like the mother and father, and then like the child was like 4 or 5 years old.
What?
And then to get the kid distracted, they gave him a cell phone.
What?
And they turned the volume, they muted the volume, but the kid kept trying to turn the volume on so he could watch his YouTube videos.
What?
In the fucking movie theater.
Get a babysitter!
Yeah. Like, I was legitimately pissed at that. But despite that, the movie was really good.
Okay.
But after going to see that movie, yesterday...
You went to go see Sonic the Hedgehog?
No,
you
not
pre-ordered
yet.
your tickets for Sonic the Hedgehog?
Not yet.
You're going to go see
I'm going to go see the Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm taking Amanda for Valentine's Day.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And then they got divorced.
No, actually, I think that movie looks fun.
Yeah.
But yesterday, as of recording this yesterday, I was at a live showing of All Elite Wrestling.
Oh, there you go.
Dynamite. It was aired on TNT. Possible I might have been on camera at some point. I don't know.
John's a TV star now, everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody's rate's gone up.
I was sitting on the side that the cameras were facing.
Yeah.
Though I think I was up a row or two higher than they were actually like.
John's crotch is a TV star, everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody go watch TNT.
It was a lot of fun. Like it was a really good show. Like this is their first time in Austin, and I really hope they come back. I got a T-shirt and I got a jacket. I'm really happy with the jacket because it's really nice quality, and got to see some wrestlers who I hadn't seen live. They crowned a new women's champion. They had a championship match, and the winner was like half Native American, half African American transgender person, female, and she won the title, and I think it was great. It was a great match. So it was probably the best match of the night, and everyone says that it was a really good match, and everyone says it was like one of the best matches of the night, and I was there witnessing history, in a sense, for wrestling.
Well, I witnessed history as well last week, because I don't know if you or literally anybody knows this, but Mythic Quest came out on Apple TV last week, and I was the guy that watched all of it.
Oh, I didn't even know all of it came out already.
Nope. Yep, they put it all out there. Apple TV's dumping stuff like Netflix. They're not doing the week by week thing.
Okay.
Wildly uneven. Yeah. Some stuff was okay. Like the back half was a little better. The first half. The problem, I don't know how long it's going to take. You know how we went through this whole time period, and I know I've talked about this before, where they would give comic book properties to people who had no idea what a fucking comic book was, or you give Superman to Zack Snyder, who hates Superman, right? And then it's like, why was the Superman movie bad? And it's like, because Zack Snyder hates Superman. That's why. There's so many things that are funny about the video game industry and about making video game. There's so many stories that we just have, about different things. I think it would be really funny to make a show that was about a company, like modern day Bethesda. You could almost make a satire out of a bunch of guys who used to make a game, and then the corporate overlords keep making them do bad things, and blah, blah. This was just, it was so, I don't know. It seemed very forced. It was very, I don't know the way to say it, but it was the first half of it was very oh, here's a thing that happened one time in the game industry. Let's make a one-off show about it. There's a subplot about one of the characters who becomes a Twitch streamer, and then they get kind of bullied off of Twitch, and they don't really do anything with it. It's that just happens. And then I'm like, well, there's a million jokes to make about Twitch and Twitch streaming, and that whole culture is rife. But it was we were doing this very surface level office comedy that just happened to take place in a video game thing, and then some direct jokes. I don't know. Also, there's an episode right in the middle of that whole season that is a drama that has no comedy in it, has none of the characters that are in the rest of it. That's just a straight 30-minute weird drama story about people making a video game and creativity and stuff like that. That was the best part of the entire show, was when they weren't trying to yuck it up, because the other. But
it had none of the characters that were.
No, it had a very, very, very tangential connection to the main story, but it was just a straight up nothing to do with the characters that you've been looking at this entire time. Nothing to do with that company, the game, that story. It was just a weird. Bam! Right mid-season.
That's weird.
And it was the best episode. I was oh, this is touching and kind of heartrending, and it's got a lot of interesting stuff going on in it. And the rest of it just seemed so desperate to make jokes. But then the problem is it's on Apple TV, so it can't be as, or I don't know, maybe it can. I don't know about Apple TV, but it wasn't as mean as It's Always Sunny, right? It wasn't as biting as It's Always Sunny.
Well, I also feel that meanness and bitiness or whatever of Always Sunny, I don't think you can do that with characters about the gaming industry.
Right.
I don't think you can do that. I think that only really works for Sunny. I feel there's very few other places you can take that same type of meanness and put it in a place where you're kind of making fun of the people who would be watching your show.
See, I think you could, but it couldn't be at a big company. I think if you wanted to make a show about like indie game developers and like your main character was say like Phil Fish and he was like a weird caricature of Phil Fish that was like an asshole to other people, that you could totally make an asshole game developer show. But again, I don't know. It's one of those things where I still feel like you remember that weird when they did that weird thing where it was like a reality show, and then the person that won got like a QA job at Sony or whatever. The tester, remember that?
Yeah.
And it was just like, what are you doing? This is weird. And also, anybody who's ever worked QA knows that that's not a prize. That's not something that we're all like, oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, the only thing I remember about the tester is one of the contestants was Ego Raptor.
Yeah, so I don't think that I think this was maybe a step in the right direction. It's definitely not worth getting Apple. I mean, I did the free trial and then immediately canceled it once I watched it. So, but anyway, well, with that all out of the way, speaking of getting a free trial and then canceling it before you have to pay for it, last week was we talked about the Nvidia streaming platform launched, and you could go play it for free, or you could do $5 a month. And you didn't happen to try that out?
No, I did not.
I tried it out a little bit. The thing that I thought was good about it was that it connected to your Steam library so that you didn't have to buy new games like on Stadia, right? So you can use the games that you currently have instead of having to go out and buy a brand new game. Well, those games for that platform have been reduced this week because Activision Blizzard has like pulled their entire catalog from the GeForce Now, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, GeForce Now.
Basically, this was done at the behest of Activision, and the Nvidia put out a very brief statement that was just like, this can work with pretty much any game, but the developers have to like allow the games to work on this, and if they say nah bro, then we have to take them off, and that's what happened here. So Call of Duty, all the Warcraft, Starcraft, all that stuff off, which it's one of those things where like, okay, I mean, game company want to do what game companies do, right? Like, but God damn it, Blizzard, you could have waited. Like,
I feel like this was more of an Activision thing than Blizzard, but
yeah, but you could have waited like until. I mean, for the last, 4 weeks, the main story has been like, oh, Blizzard done gone and fucked up now. Oh, here's Blizzard's, here's their response to the fucked upness that they did. I don't know.
That's fucked up, yeah.
Right. And so, just to do one more, it was like, I don't know.
Oh, they've done more since then.
Yeah. I just don't know.
I don't know if this is one of your news things, because I don't know if you got more about Blizzard or whatever.
I got some stuff about Blizzard.
Oh, okay. Is it the Overwatch thing about the new? I heard the fucked up thing. So they released a new skin for I think May that's exclusive to the league points or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is that because they also announced that they're ending their partnership with Twitch and being exclusive to YouTube.
Okay.
The coins to buy that skin at this moment in time can't be earned.
Okay.
And then they put the skin up, and so it's like, how am I supposed to earn the in-game currency to get that if you've removed the function to get that currency?
Is it something that you could do? It was like one of those, if you watch something on, if you watch their channel on Twitch, you earn a currency,
and you can no longer do that. And YouTube doesn't have that functionality yet. Okay. And possibly may not ever have that functionality, according to some people. But it's like everyone's like, and then they put out the skin and and it's uses this currency, and everyone's like, how am I supposed to get that currency? You cut it off.
Yeah.
And Blizzard just has, mind you, this just happened today, I think.
Yeah.
So there hasn't really been a response about it, and it's just like, God damn, Blizzard.
Yeah.
That was stupid.
Actually, you know what? I think, okay, so I have two things that I would like to talk about with this. One is that I feel like over the last few weeks, and especially going back to the whole Blitzchung thing, 2019, I don't think Blizzard, I think that it's what you were saying. I think that Blizzard has been partially, if not entirely, subsumed by Activision. Yeah. Because all of these stories about the Warcraft Reforged and what you just said and this taking stuff off, this is all like if these were all just Activision stories, I wouldn't be surprised at all. It'd be like, oh, another day, and Activision's being kind of a cock. Well, what do you expect? They're run by Bobby Kotick, right?
Yeah.
Like they've been being dick faces for years. What's another drop in the dick face bucket? Like I'd be more surprised if Activision was like, hey, the next Call of Duty game is going to be free because we love our people so much. And be like, I didn't expect that. And I feel like the whiplash here is just because so many of these things that we're seeing, they feel like Activision moves, but they're being done to Blizzard properties. And so I think that's just where
and they're
we
all
are.
happening in quick succession as well.
But see, it's weird because I feel like Activision acquired Blizzard like what 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
It's been a
bit.
When I worked at Blizzard, and that was over 5 years ago.
It was Blizzard Activision.
It was Blizzard Activision. They've owned them for probably almost 10 years.
But it's weird because I feel like in the last like year or so that the like Blizzard was owned by Activision, but they still felt like Blizzard.
Yeah.
And then somewhere in 2019, probably the Blitzchung stuff that I feel like they started. It just felt like they kept on tripping over. No, you know what? It was probably the Diablo Immortal announcement.
I feel like part of it is, and I can't remember who left, but one of the founders of Blizzard left about 2 years ago. And I feel like that was the start of it.
Okay. And they just put somebody else in who was more in line with what Activision
Yeah, and like I said, I feel like that was the start of it. Because even when I was working there, it kind of felt like certain things that were previously like, oh, Blizzard has been like, this is the way we are, this is how we operate, these are the benefits you're going to get as employees, and this is, blah, blah, blah. And then at some point, something changed and a lot of the smaller benefits started to disappear. And when I say benefits, I don't mean like employee benefits. Like I mean just like things that they do that other companies don't. Like, oh, we have soda machines where you just go up and press a button, you get the soda for free. You don't have to pay for it.
Right.
Oh, well, now you have to pay for it. But don't worry, you only have to pay a quarter. Okay, well, now you have to pay for it, and it's 50 cents.
Right.
Like those kinds of things. Like, they're not deal breakers for working at places. Like, I'll even admit, Blizzard probably, out of every company I've worked for, Blizzard had the best employee benefits, like actual benefits, like health benefits and all that, out of any company I've worked for. But I felt like a lot of those little extra perks for being an employee started, like, little perks started disappearing or changing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was kind of one of the changing things there, but it was, but still, whatever.
And also, but then the other thing that I want to talk about with this news is it also makes me wonder whether Activision and or Blizzard have their own software streaming idea that they want to do.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And then
if they're trying to do that with Battle.net or something.
Yeah.
Because they're always trying to push everything into Battle.net.
Yeah.
And they're trying to turn Battle.net into something that it was never meant to be.
Yeah.
Because even when I worked there was... I actually don't know if I can talk about that or not, but there was actually a push to make a whole, like, kind of like what Steam is, but, like, more ingrained.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that would line up with the fact that Call of Duties are on there now.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It also, it just heralds, like, I don't know, if they can get the streaming tech to work, I'm all in, but not if it's like streaming video where you've got to have 8 different subscriptions in order to play. Like I'm willing to pay to do it, but it's like, we had that, what was it, like 5-10 years of Netflix when it's like, if you have Netflix, you got it. Like you got the streaming, right? It's all you really need. And then Hulu came along and it was like, well, maybe also Hulu from time to time, depending on if I want to watch TV shows. And now it's just, fucking Apple TV and Disney Plus and the Peacock is coming and all the Amazon and Shudder and
HBO Max,
HBO and Funimation and
DC
Crunchyroll,
Universe.
Yeah. So, and at a certain point, you just go, well, fuck you. I'm buying cable at this point between all these different services. But anyway, but for anybody hoping that that some of these options will be making Activision Blizzard think twice, I got to remind folks that it's about the money. It's about the money.
Yeah.
Blizzard doesn't care and Activision doesn't care. Bobby Kotick, we know Bobby Kotick does not give a shit how mad you are. He cares about how much money is coming into the bank.
Yeah, I think there was even an interview where someone asked him, like, how do you feel about all the player fans and customers who are upset about these changes that you're making to such and such game? And he goes, well, the thing you got to remember is that I look at the sales and the sales support what we're doing.
Yeah. And so we got an earnings call, or not an earnings call, but we got some financial data from Activision Blizzard. And it seems that between World of Warcraft Classic, but way more than that, Call of Duty Mobile, in 2019, their profits and users have just spiked. Like they have a huge. The biggest one is from there's these MAUs, which is monthly active users.
Yeah.
So for Q4 of 2018 to Q4 of 2019, Blizzard lost 3 million. King lost, I don't know, what is that, 19 million? But Activision gained like 75 million. So and a lot of that has been attributed to the Call of Duty Mobile and China and the Chinese market, which I think says a lot about, we go back to the Blitzchung thing and about the kind of like money versus freedom thing, and Activision wants this fucking money, right? Yeah. That's a shitload of money for them. And if they want to, step up and say like, no, you can do whatever you want to. This is America. You say whatever you want about China on any of our things. Then like they're potentially risking the hit of millions of users using certain products and losing a shitload of money.
Yeah,
that's a huge conundrum, right? Like as a private individual, I'm all about freedom and shit, right? But like as a company, the companies at the end of the day, they're there to make money, right? Yeah. Like I think that there's a certain argument to be made about making money at any cost versus making like, a good amount of money and being ethical versus making as much money as humanly possible, no matter what you have to do, no matter who you have to step on to do it. But I think it's worth noting this because, the latest thing it's like Bethesda, right? Where we talk about, everybody shits on Fallout 76 all day, every day, right? But I bet you cash money, Fallout 76 is making Bethesda a lot of money. They don't need to have everybody in the world playing it. They only need to have a small number of people who keep putting $20 a month into it as opposed to, making that money up front. So unfortunately, I don't think anything's going to be changing with Activision Blizzard anytime soon. We'll see. So, speaking of things that aren't going to be changing anytime soon, last week we got a story where BioWare was talking about everybody's favorite game for 2019, Anthem, my personal game of the year from 2019.
I don't think it appeared on any of our top 10 lists.
I actually got EA access on my Xbox One X, and I reinstalled Anthem, and I was like, I still don't think this is as bad as people think it is. Like, I don't think it's like a great game, but I don't think it's like.
Didn't I read a thing like the other day stating that the Christmas decorations
are still up? Yes.
Are still up in Anthem?
Yes. I get the feeling that Anthem is just like there's a team working on it, but they have no money or time or anything, and so they're trying to like fix stuff from 3 months ago. In any case, there was a whole thing last week where basically BioWare came out and doubled down on like, we're gonna fix Anthem.
Hey, good for them.
We're starting now, apparently. Like, apparently they've been in maintenance and trying to like bug fix and like get the things they promised of the season pass out and stuff. But apparently now they're like going back to the drawing board. They're going to try to figure out a way to keep the things that people like and then like fix the problems that people don't like. And then they said they're looking at like the core gameplay loop of the game to try to fix it. And, we'll see. But the problem that I'm having with this is like, this is a pretty big undertaking if you're going back to the drawing board and you're going to leave Anthem up and running, and it's going to be, a year? So in 2021, we'll get a gigantic patch for Anthem that makes it super fun? Is anybody going to care at that point?
I mean, you could have said the same thing about No Man's Sky, and look at it.
That's true. That's very true. That's very, very true. I wonder, which do you think got worse? What do you think had a worse reputation amongst gamers, No Man's Sky or Anthem? I feel they both got a big hit, but like the backlash on No Man's Sky was pretty hefty.
Yeah.
And I guess it did take them like a year to get that first redo out. So I don't know. I personally think that Anthem has potential. Like, I like the flying around in the Iron Man suit and launching rockets at dudes. I think that's a fun thing. Like, I don't know. I've literally bought whole video games that were about flying around in a mech suit and shooting rockets at guys.
Okay.
I don't know. I just don't. Did you ever actually play Anthem?
No. I don't play games of service games. Like, just, the fact that it was like, this is a games of service, I was like, I no longer, literally, the second they said this is games of service, and I was like, I lost all 100% interest in your game. Have a nice day.
I kind of like the story. I kind of like the world.
I'm sure it's great.
I played the whole game, and I just
don't have any interest in a fake MMO. So,
Okay, I get it.
Or MMFO, whatever you want to call it.
Ooh, that's good. Copyright Rage Slate. I don't even care if anybody else has done it. That's ours now. So yeah, anyway, if now I know that this is going to make a lot of people mad who just want them to like throw Anthem in the trash and keep working on Dragon Age 4. Given the track record so far, I'd rather see them fix a product and make it good as opposed to moving on to making another half-assed thing, because I don't know if Mass Effect Andromeda was good once they patched it, but it was definitely half-assed when it came out. I personally don't like Dragon Age Inquisition. Like, everybody was all up on that game, and I played it all the way to the end, and I was like, I don't think this is as good as some of the previous Dragon Ages. I never played
Dragon Age Inquisition, yeah.
And then before that, we were at Mass Effect 3, which, like, eventually,
I love Mass Effect. I love Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. I am the guy that played 3 and was like, no, I liked it. What are you talking about? I was the one person I know that I can think of off the top of my head that was actually played the ending and went, I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I think that it's okay once you add in all the DLC. Once you added all the DLC back in, but I still wonder if they ever did a patch on that where you could beat the game and get the best ending without doing the dumb multiplayer, which wasn't actually that bad. I played a little bit of the multiplayer. It wasn't that bad, but like, that was the most egregious thing in Mass Effect 3 was that, like, in order to get the readiness level all the way up.
I think they did remove that at some point.
Also, I mean, you can't play Mass Effect on the current gen consoles, can you? They never released those for the PS4 or Xbox One.
No. I don't think so.
So there you go. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. Here's hoping. I hope Anthem gets good because I liked it. I was like 60% already. So if they add like more to it, I'm like, hey, cool.
Yeah,
fly around.
Yeah, could be good.
Do stuff. So that's good. Speaking of stuff that's good, that's not happening this year. Jeff Keighley is not gonna be at E3. He's not doing. He does a whole like, what do they call this thing? It was called he did this whole thing where he would take like media personalities and devs and stuff out and show them stuff like before the show launched. It was like a whole feature that he did, and then he did a lot of hosting for Twitch and stuff like that. And today, inexplicably, he just like posted on Twitter this whole thing where he says, for the past 25 years, I've attended every electronic entertainment expo. Covering, hosting, and sharing E3 has always been a highlight of my year, not to mention defining part of my career. I debated what to say about E3 2020. While I want to support the developers who will showcase their work, I also need to be open and honest with fans about precisely what to expect from me. And basically, he just said that with the way that E3 is being structured this year, he doesn't feel like he can do that anymore or be part of the show.
Yeah,
which is kind of a big thing. Like, I'm wondering what he knows that we don't, because there's that whole thing with, where the Electronic Entertainment Association or whatever was like, we're shaking it up this year. We're bringing in IM 8-bit and we're making it all funky and we're changing it up. And so,
well, also it's the fact that Sony's not going to be there.
Yep.
Microsoft will kind of be there.
Yep. But
off site, and Nintendo will just be doing what Nintendo does.
Yeah, there was actually a rumor also that Nintendo wasn't going to be there this year, but that was debunked. But what I'm wondering is there was some information in one of those ESA things that was talking about like bringing in like influencers, right? And I'm wondering if if they're going to be catering to like influencer personalities as opposed to making it like a press show. And I wonder if that, because I could see them doing that. Like, that seems like the sort of thing that I can see a company like the ESA doing, where they're just like, fuck, how do we get eyes on this thing? And it's like, whoa, bring in all the top video game streamers and also Rage Select.
Yeah, I was going to say, can you bring Rage Select in and let me know in advance if you're going, then that you can get me in as well.
Bitch, we don't have that many subscribers. Like, get me the puppet guy that doesn't do any of the puppet stuff anymore and only does it when he feels like it, and he doesn't live stream, and that guy, get him in here.
But tell him he has to do the puppet stuff.
Dude, I would do the puppet stuff. All right,
I know.
I wanted to do the puppet stuff. I really would love to do the puppet stuff at E3. I need like a camera person and like, a little head mic and stuff. I really wanted to do it the first year that we went, and I was like really close to trying to figure out how to do it, but it's also very, very difficult in the chaotic environment that is E3. Anyway, we'll see if Mr. Keeley knows something that we don't, but he's also kind of one of the guys that's like, I don't know, he's fairly respected in the video game industry, right? Like the guy at the Video Game Awards who said fuck Konami, basically, for not letting...
He technically created, or not technically, he created the Video Game Awards?
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, that's his baby.
So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Speaking of people who aren't going to be at E3, there was a really weird patent last week that Sony put out. Now, this is not anything because we see crazy-ass shit get patented all the time. Yeah. But the patent was for a technology to basically, like, watch what characters or watch how players are playing and then literally pop up like suggested microtransactions or hints or like things you can buy. Like if you're doing poorly at a game, that there would literally be like a big pop-up that comes up that was like, are you having a hard time? Maybe buy this shotgun for $20. Most players can get through this part of the game once they spent $20 on this shotgun right here. And it just sounds like the worst thing that's ever
does sound like the worst thing.
And apparently as part of the patent, it was literally like, it was even like the first time you play through the game, right? So like you come to an area in the game, and before you've failed at it, the game is like, you should pick the energy crystals because 80% of people who pick the energy crystals, they were able to beat this part of the game. And I cannot think of anything more irritating in the world than a game trying to tell me how to play the game. I
don't need Clippy in my fucking video games.
Hey, are you trying to beat Ornstein and Smo? Have you tried a lightning build?
Have you tried not sucking?
Have you tried getting good, noob? You know what? I'd be willing to live with it if it was Clippy, because that would at least be somewhat funny, but as like a legitimate pop-up thing. But then this article on VG247 that was talking about this literally pointed to in 2012 there was another patent that Sony put out for where like you're playing a game and then an advertisement comes on and it says like in the patent it's literally like person playing a game and then it shows like a hamburger and it says say McDonald's to end commercial, and then the person has to like stand up and put their hands over their head and say the word McDonald's, and the camera on the PlayStation is watching them so that if they do it right, then it turns the ad off and you can go back to playing your game. If that happened, I would burn my own house down. Are you kidding me?
I would have. Wow.
You want to lose the console wars? Great, you done it. Like one time. That'd be one time, and I would. It'd be like those people that burn their shoes or throw their razors in the toilet or whatever. I'd take my PlayStation out on the street and run it over with my car. Like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But then we also saw the patent for what was the whole like. What was that one that was like trying to get you into microtransactions if you like showing you I don't remember what it was, something like that. So hopefully this is just some bullshit that somebody had an idea for. They were like, fuck it, man, patent it. All right. We'll never use it, but we don't want anybody else to use it either.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe Sony is like coming up with bad ideas and then patenting them and then never implementing them so that we never have to do them.
That's actually kind of the thing you're talking about with the whole McDonald's thing, like from, what was that, 2012 you said?
Yeah.
I feel like that was them going, okay, someone in our company had this idea of this stupid idea, and we all agree it's terrible and it should never be implemented.
Yeah.
But if someone in our company had the idea, that means someone in some other company is going to have the idea.
That means Bobby Kotick might think it up.
And we need to make sure they don't have a way to implement that shit on our consoles. So let's patent it and then not allow anyone to buy or license the patent.
Strangely circuitous logic, but anyway, from there, let's talk about the Xbox. We talked about PlayStation. Let's talk about the Xbox. So last week there was an interview with Phil Spencer where they kind of grilled him a little bit on the fact that the Xbox One X is not going to have any console exclusives. I mean, there'll be platform exclusives, right? Like I don't ever play Xbox games on my PC, but I'm correct, right, in that they did do the thing where all like Gears 5 on the Xbox app, Sea of Thieves, you can play it on your PC, Forza, you can play it on your PC. So when the Xbox One X comes out, when it's first launching stuff, those games like the new Halo game will also be available for the Xbox One as well as the Xbox app on the PC. You'll be able to play it basically anywhere but the PS4 or the Switch, right? If you have the capability to do so. And they asked him whether this was he thought this was going to hurt sales because, I mean, a lot of times the typical pattern is we put out console exclusive games for the new console to get people to buy the new console. Like, do you want to play the new Halo game? Well, then you need to buy the new Microsoft console. That's why you do it, right? And his response was I don't know, it's kind of touchy-feely. It's a little bit about how they don't want the console to be the center of the game experience. They want the player to be the center of the console experience. That they're like marketing towards the person. They're not focusing on trying to push as many units of the Xbox One Series X as they can. They're trying to get people into their architecture, into their ecosystem. So rather than focusing really hard on pushing individual units, they want to just get people into Xbox however they can, so that they are at least part of that instead of going to one of the competitors. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think this is it's a better idea than the Kinect like TV stuff, but it still seems kind of risky, especially considering the amount of time that Microsoft has spent trying to make up the losses over the...
It's definitely risky. I mean, especially for the reasons of you even brought it up when we talked about like, oh, which console are you going to get first of the new generation? Is it going to be a PS4 or an Xbox One? You're like, oh, I'm going to get a PS5 because I can play all the releases that come out for the Series X on my Xbox One X.
Yeah.
I'll probably end up getting the Xbox One Series X just because I still have my OG first generation Xbox One and wouldn't mind going for an upgrade.
Right.
Because I feel like I'll probably play.
Because you have a PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
So it's like you're kind of like looking to upgrade the lowest spec box that you have. You're looking to replace that with something better.
Yeah. Unless the PlayStation 5 has like a launch game that's exclusive to the PlayStation 5 that's just like is a must have. Like if they said
that dumb Destiny with Knights in Armor game that
I was saying, like if they came out and said, oh, okay, here's the PS5 and the first launch title is Spider-Man 2.
Right.
Well, shit, I'm gonna have to get that. But no, so I feel like there's a possibility that a lot of people siding with you. I'm in the minority on that.
Sure.
So I feel like a lot of people are going to be like, well, if that's the case, then I can hold off on getting the new Xbox Series X, and I can just focus on getting a PS5 and get all the exclusive for that, and then at some point maybe I'll upgrade my Xbox One to the Xbox One Series X when
those exclusives finally start happening. I mean, they will happen eventually, right?
Yeah, just not. I think they said the first first year of launch,
at least a year.
Yeah. So I think that is gonna hurt a little bit as far as the actual console sales themselves.
Yeah. I guess it depends on what they're focusing on. Like if that's what they really, if they're looking to push the hardware.
Yeah, and I get the feeling because again they've said that the Xbox One Series X is not a single console.
Right.
It is a platform, which they've been very ambiguous on what that comment means.
Right.
That on like, is it when they say it's a platform? Does that mean when it finally does come out, it's going to be Xbox Series One XA and Xbox Series One XB that's online only, and there's going to be an Xbox One C that's a little bit lower, that's the cheapest, but it's
I'm wondering if we're just moving into a world where, how we used to have the console come out and then we would get the hardware refresh that was like a little better.
Yeah.
Whether every new hardware refresh is going to be like a literal upgrade. Like it's it's going to look better. Like imagine the PS2 Slim has 40% more processing power and everything looks better on it. And that every 2 years we're going to get a new one of these, so that you don't have to upgrade. You're still able to play your games.
Yeah.
But that there is like a more constant incentive to maybe think about getting a new console, as opposed to just replacing the same console over and over again.
That's what we talked about. Basically, going the iPhone route.
Yes,
with it. But I'm just saying, like at the start, it's probably going to be a bad idea. But I don't think that's what they're looking at. They don't care. I don't feel like they care. What they care about is people playing Xbox games, whether it's on an Xbox One X or on their PC. They want the Ultimate Game Pass subscriptions, which they've already got my money.
Yep.
They got your money.
They got my money.
We show that shit all the time.
They can at least give us free subscriptions. They're like $5 a month. Come on, Microsoft.
Oh, I got the ultimate
$1.
Well, no, I got the ultimate thing that's got that's got gold and
and the PC
Even though I never play PC games, but it's got gold and PC all wrapped up. Now, mind you, I did do the $1 thing. I don't think I have to actually pay for it again until like whatever, but
they just put Final Fantasy 15 on there.
I know. I just downloaded
the Royal Edition, all the DLC,
which is also weird because I set it to download and it downloaded like 26 things.
Yeah,
and I was like, "What? Why are there so many things?" Because it actually downloads each piece of DLC for individually.
I was thinking about going back and trying that game again, and then I realized that when they put out the individual character episodes, they aren't integrated into the main game.
No,
you have to like stop the game, because there's points in the game where like a character will leave the party and then that's where their DLC happens, and it's like you have to stop the main game and then go launch the DLC. And then the one for the Prompto, I guess, the shooty guy, I was reading online, somebody was like, there's a bunch of spoilers in that one for the end of 15, so you technically need to play it after you finish the entire game. And I'm like, well, fuck you then. Like I don't know, I don't have to download a spreadsheet on how to play Final Fantasy, you yahoos. Just make it all the game. Make it for one version of the game.
And then there's the multiplayer game.
Oh, yeah. Guardians.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it goes.
Like, I honestly think that's what they're looking at. They're looking at the subscriptions for the Game Pass and for Gold, and then they want people to play it. They don't care what platform you're playing it on. And I actually think that's more what they mean when they say, oh, Xbox One Series X isn't like a specific console. It's a platform.
They're trying to get people into the ecosystem instead of building some kind of weird brand loyalty.
Will that work?
Specific console.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, they're definitely trying to pull an Apple, like because again, if you look at Apple has iPhone and iPad.
Yeah.
And those all they regardless of which one you have, you're still playing the same things.
It's also been a really good incentive with the Game Pass is if you add those games into your Xbox library, it's like a weird way, because I didn't really use my Xbox much at all. Like I would only plug it in when there was an Xbox exclusive game. But when the Game Pass has come out and like the Xbox One X as opposed to the PS4 Pro is a little quieter and it runs the 4K games a little bit better than my PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
Is that I've been adding stuff in that library, and I realized the other day, I'm like, oh shit, my Xbox library has gotten substantial because I just keep adding even games I already have that are on Game Pass. I'm just like, well, just add it to the library, just, and so that has actually made my Xbox library less disposable than it used to be, because I've got all these games that then could get transferred to another platform.
Yeah.
It's almost like they've given me the back catalog of games where Metro Exodus I was playing before you showed up, and it was like, oh, I bought Metro Exodus for the PS4. I would not buy it again for the Xbox One X, but if it's on Game Pass, I'd rather play it on my Xbox One X because, like I said, it's quieter and it's slightly better 4K than the PS4 Pro. So,
yeah.
Anyway, wow, we're so running late. All right, it's time to kick it into high gear, everybody. Well, I didn't want to leave Nintendo out. So last week we also had a story about Nintendo, and apparently a Portuguese website called F Nintendo, which I don't think it was like that. It wasn't like F Nintendo. It was just called F Nintendo. Who got a review copy of Pokemon Sword and Shield. They leaked a bunch of data from it, broke their NDA, and Nintendo has now blacklisted them. And they came out and gave a public apology, basically saying like, yep, we did that. We fucked up. We realized that we're not going to get any support from Nintendo anymore, and that's a shame. Or not even that's a shame, but like we did it. We earned that. Sorry, Nintendo. So I don't know. Just kind of an interesting story.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with the exclusivity deals. Pull giant strings out of your shirt. From there, we also had some more Pokemon news where apparently there's been a problem with some of the online trading functions in Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Yeah.
That literally have made it. People with hacked Switches have been creating like a fucked up Pokemon. And okay, so there's like the mystery trade thing where you put one of your Pokemon in and then like it just randomly hooks you up with another person and then you trade between the two of them without anybody seeing what's in the Pokemon box. And apparently the hackers are putting Pokemon in the box that are messed up to where the game just repeats the opening the box animation until it crashes.
Oh, wow.
And then from there, if you don't do a specific set of steps, if you try to go back online, the first thing it'll try to do is reseat that Pokemon onto your game, and it'll crash again. Now, as of the reporting for this, I think this has been a bug for a day, and I'm sure it'll be fixed. But if it's not fixed by now, hey, Pokemon fans, be careful about doing the weird rando trading online.
Man, some people just are fucking assholes.
Yep, just messing it all up for everybody. Let's see. From there, we got a whole bunch of information this week about Outriders, which is the game that People Can Fly announced last year at E3. For anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, People Can Fly are the people that made Bulletstorm, the greatest video game of all time.
Yeah.
Except for the Duke Nukem edition, which doesn't make any fucking sense at all. But yeah, Bulletstorm is great. And they made Bulletstorm and they made Gears of War Judgment, and then they fucking disappeared for years.
Yeah, they also made Painkiller?
Did they make Painkiller?
Yeah, I think they made Painkiller.
Okay. I need to go back and play that. So anyway,
I think Painkiller was their first game.
That makes sense. This week we got a new trailer and a bunch of information. So this is going to be a 3v3. I'm actually just really excited for this. There's not really a whole hell of a lot to say about this game because it looks like a kind of a standard. It's like a third-person cover-based shooter, but then it's got a bunch of like Destiny powers and stuff in it where you can like turn into a glowy ninja or a glowy. There's like three classes, and one of them is like a mobility class, and one of them is like a DPS class, and one of them is like a tank class. The whole thing takes place on this like weird futuristic planet where electronics don't work, but that people have all this like crazy alien power that's turning them into these weird super mutants. And it looks like a weird combination of like World War I meets kind of Anthem in some ways, like in this big old planet. I'm really excited for this game. Like, it's coming out holiday 2020. It's going to be on the PS5 and the PS4, and I think on the Xbox as well. But there's a big trailer that came out for it. They also let a bunch of news outlets look at it because on all the news websites that I was looking at today, there was like everybody had a story about like, hey, this Outriders game looks pretty cool. It's kind of interesting. And then they also did a big Twitch reveal thing live. So
okay.
I don't know. This is the one where I was talking to you earlier about how they said that this is going to be it's going to have basically a full single player game. They're not launching with like a roadmap to finish a thing. Like they're planning to make a full game that you can play. In one of the announcements I was reading, they said they're not having any PvP because they wanted to let you have these like really powerful super abilities that you could use.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to have to balance that shit in PvP. Like they wanted you to be able to
appreciate that.
Yeah, like a one hit blows up the screen ultimate, and they didn't want to have to worry about like, well, how is that going to work when they're fighting another player as opposed to when you're fighting enemies? So it's going to launch only with PvE. It looks a little bland, a little tan and gray right now, very like dusty, but I don't know. There's some stuff that they've talked about. Like, I like People Can Fly. I have not had a problem with any of their games. And it's been a while since they've had anything. So I'm more than willing to.
Well, anything that it wasn't them working on someone else's property,
right?
Because looking at their history, they did the Painkiller games, and then they've been working on Gears of War with, like, they did the PC version of Gears of War, of the original Gears of War.
Oh yeah,
they co-developed. They co-developed Gears of War 2. They did like some of the multiplayer. For one of them. They co-developed for Gears of War 3. They made Gears of War Judgment.
Right.
They also co-developed the Fortnite Save the World campaign.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
For Epic, and literally, they worked on other properties. With Epic. Of Epic's properties, and this is kind of the first one that they've done since Bulletstorm.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, the thing is that People Can Fly has shown that they're good at, like, making, like, their games feel good to play.
Yes, I agree.
And when I look at the footage of this game, it looks like this sort of footage where, like, it kind of looks like a Gears of War knockoff. Like, if you told me it was if it had just been some random, if this had been a Spiders game, I would not be interested in it. But knowing that it's People Can Fly means that I feel like it's going to feel good to play.
Yes.
And that's one of the most important things.
Because I can even say that was one of the things with all of their games, like going all the way back to Painkiller, is that I don't think when Painkiller originally came out, I don't think it was very graphically great. Like I think even when it came out, it was actually considered. We were already well past that level of graphic fidelity or whatever in Painkiller, and the Painkiller story is kind of bullshit. And by bullshit, I just mean it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But the controls and everything for that were just so good.
Yeah.
And then same for Bulletstorm. Luckily, Bulletstorm actually has a fun story.
Right. Even though it is very surface level, but
it's at least fun.
Yes.
But the controls for the game are super fun to play.
Yeah.
And so that's the big thing that I can take away, is that their games are always super fun to play.
Yep. And this one, I don't know. Like, again, it looks like it's got a lot of potential. I'm hoping that they do like a beta or something.
Hopefully they do something to add some color.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering, see, they've been kind of cagey. Like, they talked about the 3 classes, but then they said there's a whole 4th class in the game that they're just not talking about. And then some of the, like, ways that they talk about upgrading. I'm wondering if this isn't a game where, like, as it goes on, it changes dramatically. And what we're seeing is, like, the first hour of the game where it's just a very dusty, looks a lot like Gears of War.
Yeah.
And then as you play it, you're like, oh, holy shit, this gets, like, way different as it goes on. So
maybe.
Which I don't know, but in any case, I'm really excited for it. Go check out the trailer. We got a bunch of. Oh, also, it's got a whole like dialogue system, kind of like Mass Effect.
Oh, nice.
Where you can go through and do stuff. We got a whole bunch of individual little announcements here, just about different companies doing different stuff. So we're going to kind of motor through these pretty quickly. EA dissolved Ghost Games that was making Need for Speed back into their EA, like, Stockholm, I believe. And then Need for Speed is going back to Criterion, which is located in the UK. I don't understand why. Okay, maybe, and this is, like, I am legitimate here. I'm not trying to throw shade. I don't understand why anybody would want to play a Need for Speed game when you play Burnout. Like, I think that Burnout has always been a much more fun. I guess Need for Speed's more of like an actual racing game, and Burnout's more of like this weird, chaotic, blowing up cars game.
Yeah.
So more of a destruction derby. But in any case, Need for Speed is going back to Criterion, and they're going to be making whatever the next Need for Speed game is. So
probably like Paradise 3 or whatever.
I wish it would be Burnout. I wish it would be. They haven't been able. I mean, Paradise was the last one, and then they just like scrap that franchise. I don't understand why.
That was a Burnout franchise. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
For some reason, I think it was Need for Speed Paradise.
No, it was like Heat and like Most Wanted.
Well, Heat was
like
the most recent one.
Heat was the most recent one, and then there was a bunch of other Need for Speeds. I don't know. I haven't found Need for Speed to be especially interesting for a while now.
Yeah, I think the last really fun one that I played was Underground.
Yeah.
And Underground 2.
The Run. I played The Run all the way to the end, where you have to run from the mob. You got to drive all the way across the United States.
Oh, no, I never played that one.
That one was actually kind of interesting. Interesting concept. Quantic Dream, everybody's favorite maker of narrative, awkward kissing games.
David Cage.
Yep, Mr. David Cage himself. They have decided to start self-publishing.
Okay.
So up until now, Quantic Dream has been very tied to the PlayStation brand since what was the one after Fahrenheit? Would it be Heavy Rain was around the time they kind of got in there, and then Beyond and Detroit and all those took time to get over to the PC. It took a long time for those to go to the PC. They've decided to kind of like split from that particular arrangement, so hopefully things will be more multi-platform. I really enjoyed Detroit. And if they, I think that if you plot the Quantic Dream games, that they just kind of keep getting better, and that in a lot of ways, Detroit was the first one to get over the I actually really like this game. Not like, well, it was okay. It had some good parts, and then it had the part where you have to go into the ghost reactor, and that part was stupid. So, that Ubisoft has a gigantic expansion for The Division 2. Where you go to Coney Island. They've also, there's 2 missions that you can do right now if you have the season pass, and then a bunch more that are coming that are going to create a whole new kind of gameplay loop for the game.
Okay.
And also they're about chasing the antagonist from the Division 1, who was a Division agent that turned evil. But the big takeaway, and the reason I put the story in here is, as I told you earlier before we started, because of this, the Ubisoft has put the Division 2 on sale for $3.
Wow.
And why the fuck not? Right? I don't know. You may like the Division, you may not like the Division, but $3 is kind of nothing. Now, this is one of those things where that's the vanilla game for $3, and then if you want to play this stuff, there's like a $30 or $40 season pass that you have to buy over that $3. But if you just want to check out original Division 2 for right now, I think for the next 10 days as of recording this, it'll probably be around 8 days when this comes out, $3.
All right, cool.
I bought it on the Xbox One X. Also, apparently when Ubisoft was doing some announcements for a few things, somebody asked them if they're still working on that Avatar game that they said that they were developing, and apparently the answer is yes, John. So you can breathe a sigh of relief that Avatar tie-in game. There was one, right? There was a PS3 one.
Yeah,
had 3D on it. If you had a 3D TV.
Yeah. I remember that. Or remember seeing something about that. I never played that game. I've still never seen that movie.
Okay, I thought that they filmed 3 sequels right in a row. They are currently filming. Okay.
Yeah, or maybe they already did. I don't know.
And then in the technology field, this was just kind of an interesting little thing. This is not a processor. Okay. Let me start at the beginning. I'm getting a little too fast here.
You are.
There's an AMD processor that they put out last week called the Threadripper 3990X. This is a $4,000 processor made for big math problems and stuff.
Yeah. But
Linus Tech Tips went out and got a hold of it, and apparently they were able to play Crysis on a computer that had this processor that didn't have
a video card
that just had an embedded video out on it. So this processor was powerful enough to play the entire game and do all of the rendering functions all on the processor all by itself, which is not something that I think we're going to see anytime soon.
Oh, I don't think not for cheap.
Yeah, and also when you watch this video, Crysis does not run very well, even though they have all of this stuff roll at the same time. But it's just kind of an interesting thing to think of, instead of this whole thing that we have with the processor and then your separate video card, about just putting it all together into one place. So let's do some trailers real fast. We got a Avengers trailer, Embrace Your Powers.
Showed us absolutely nothing new.
I think I don't want to make it seem like I'm just continually moving the goalposts, John, for this Avengers game. But when we first saw it, we saw a lot of kind of stuff like what we're seeing in this trailer, cinematic and some curated gameplay. I was like, I want to see actual gameplay, and then they showed us a tutorial. I want to see what this game looks like after you've been playing it for 3 hours. I want to see an early game mission from here's the hub world. Here's who you go to get your mission. Here's how you party up with people. Here's a mission. You're going to have to go to this. You're going to have to do this, because it all just feels like I want to see what the game actually is, because I feel like there's a bad surprise waiting for all of us when it turns out that it's...
Well, it's like originally it was supposed to come out on in like within the next couple of months, but then it got pushed back to September.
Yes, it did. In any case, I don't know. I'll keep an eye on it. I really just want to see somebody do a mission. Kind of like the footage that we were looking at from the People Can Fly game, right? That Outrider game.
Yeah.
Like we were just looking at capture from game journalists playing this game with the devs at a press event, and I want to see some of that for this. Dead Cells got a trailer this week for The Bad Seed, which is a $5 expansion to Dead Cells that gives you 2 new areas and a bunch of new items, costumes, and weapons and sub-weapons and stuff like that.
Okay.
I don't know if I don't know if you know this, but Dead Cells is freaking awesome. So
I've heard it's really good.
Everybody should go play Dead Cells. It's really good. And let's see. I'm going to skip this one. Sakura Wars got an announcement trailer. So this is a franchise that John knows about.
I am familiar with it. It's featured heavily in the Project Cross Zone games, which were the Sega, Bandai, Namco,
like
Capcom,
RTS, or turn-based strategy.
Yeah.
That's
one of the games heavily featured in both of those games.
Okay.
And I'm also familiar with the original game vaguely, but I'm not mistaken, there was also an anime.
Well, there's some anime cutscenes in this trailer, but apparently this is the 6th one of these games that started life on the Dreamcast, but only one of them has ever come over to the West, and it was like 9 years ago on the Wii. So apparently this is like a combination of like a weird dating sim that takes place in the 1940s in Japan, and then also there are steampunk mechs and some kind of Dynasty Warriors-esque looking third-person steampunk mech combat.
Yeah.
Then also romance with anime ladies. So
yes.
I don't have any problem with any of those words, so we'll see. It actually was announced and then comes out April 28th here in the U.S., so we'll see how it goes. Let's see. From there, a few quick things. John, there's going to be a new Prince of Persia game.
Yeah, I heard about this.
Yeah, Prince of Persia. Oh, man, I've been waiting for so long. Oh, wait, what's that? It's a VR escape room? Fuck you.
Yeah.
A 4-player VR escape room that you can play with other people.
So what I want to bring up that's going to be a slight tangent, and I apologize.
Sure.
So this game will not be there or be at one of the places, but did you know that there is actually like a VR place that's opening near us? Very near us, where it's like you basically it's like an entire room, and you get like 1 to 4 people, and you go in,
like one of those like super custom games that they made.
Yeah, and it's like there's like one of them is like a Star Trek Discovery like away mission.
Oh yeah, I've seen
it's supposed to open up soon if it's not already open.
Where is it?
In the domain.
Oh, well.
And I was like, I thought about actually like calling them up, like seeing how much it costs like per person, if it's a per person thing or if it's a one thing, seeing if we would be allowed to bring like cameras and get like you, me, Matt, and Michael go do some sort of game and have someone like filming us just with in full VR gear walking around this fucking stupid room.
Sounds great.
Like seeing what it would take to do that and releasing that as a video. Not saying it's ever going to happen. It was just I'm 100%
down with that. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, because it's near us.
Yeah,
and I'm like, there's like different things. Like there's one that's like an actual like PvP, like league battle thing, like fighting league battle.
Okay.
VR thing, and then there's like the Star Trek one. Then there's like an actual like horror escape room one, and then there's like some pirate themed thing.
Ooh. Okay, we gotta check. We gotta check this out. Out. I don't think I'll be checking out Prince of Persia: The Dagger of Time.
Yeah.
Because that does not sound very interesting to me. Now, I might be checking out Space Channel 5 VR.
Because that's coming on the PSVR, right?
Yeah, it's coming February 25th. Well, I think the Prince of Persia thing is coming out, or I don't know, it might be, might not be. But yeah, Space Channel VR has a release date, which I didn't realize. This is apparently like a new Space Channel game.
Yeah.
This is not just like Space Channel 5 ported and remade in VR. It's like a new game.
Yeah, no, it's a completely new game.
It's coming out on February 25th. So, it's been a while. And some of you people don't even know who Lala is. You need to go find out.
She was also in Project Cross Zone 2.
And then last on the VR front, we got an actual release date for Half-Life Alyx.
Oh, nice.
It's going to be out on March 23rd.
Okay.
Even though all the HTC headsets are completely sold out, and then also can't get any more, and then there's coronavirus, and I don't want to get into that whole thing.
Yeah.
But what you can get eventually is apparently Stardew Valley is going to be doing some spin-off games.
Nice.
Dev said he's working on 2 different games that are, one of them is one takes place in the world of Stardew Valley but is not a farming game, and the other, he says he's not 100% sure about the world yet, but it will tie into Stardew Valley in some way. But I love this because this is Eric Baroni, where he says, all I ask is please don't get too hyped at this stage. I want to avoid too much hyper speculation. I'd like to make sure, or just make whatever game comes naturally to me without too much pressure or expectation. Like, ha! Good luck on that, motherfucker. You struck it big, and now you belong to us. But no, seriously, it looks. I hope the guy makes some new stuff.
Stardew Valley is one of those games I keep I'm on the verge of playing, and I'm sure it'll be good because too many people have said good things about it for it to not be good. But I'm at the verge of playing it. I'm just kind of
almost but no,
yeah. So I don't know.
And last but not least, something just for fun. I don't know if you saw this last week, but Red Dead 2 is on the PC, and somebody made this really fun video called Mini RDR Tilt Shift #1, and it's basically they did that that
miniature filter where it kind of
does like a field of view, and then they kind of speed it up a little bit, and they basically just pulled the camera out and it makes
everything look like a toy train set.
Makes the world of Red Dead 2 look like a little miniature train set that you're looking at. It works better whenever they have trains or cities. They have a few where they're just showing fields and stuff, and that doesn't look quite as good, but it's kind of amazing how effective it is in a lot of ways. So if you're looking for something fun to look at about Red Dead Redemption 2, this is a good one to look at because it's pretty cool. Like I said, not every one of the filters works, but whenever they're looking down on the cities, it looks really good. So, and with that, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to answer some questions. Everybody stick around. We'll see you in a minute.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Of course.
He's always ready. He's always ready. One of these days, I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him one of these days. Well, before we get into questions, though, I actually played a game last week. It's not a new game. It's an old game, and I want to talk about it. So,
okay.
I listened to the Watch Out for Fireballs, which is a great video games podcast, and they do deep dives in individual games, and one of the ones they did recently was Dusk. And it reminded me that I played Dusk with Matt when it came out, I think in 2018, but I never actually went back and played it at all.
Which one was Dusk?
It's the really chunky Quake looking game that came out that was it had a very there's a cult that you've been kidnapped by, and then you have to get out, but it's this very very Quake 1 low poly, low rent kind of thing. And I think that one of the problems that I had with it was that I was playing it when we played it for the show with a gamepad.
It's a mouse and keyboard game.
It is a mouse and keyboard game because you go at a million miles an hour, and it's very much those I'm going to jump up in the air and then hit this guy with a rocket on the way down, and then jump into a teleport pad and grab some stuff. It was great though. It was wonderful. It was about 8-10 hours long, and then it gets really strange. It starts out very kind of I don't know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre culty, but then it gets real weird. It gets real unearthly, and I think it's $20.
Okay.
And then last year, I didn't realize this, but the same guy that made this put out another game called Amid Evil.
Okay.
Which is heretic version of this, where it's like low poly, but then it's all like magical skeletons, and you're shooting like fireballs and stuff.
Okay.
So I haven't gotten to that yet because I've got a bunch of other games on the list at this point. But Dusk is totally worth checking out. It's not that expensive.
Okay.
But like, yes, definitely mouse and keyboard. Because also once it gets into the later half of the game, it starts getting very difficult. So you get into that whole like, I'm going to do this one combat encounter, and if I do it right, I'm going to quick save, and if I do it wrong, I'm going to quick load and then do it again. It's interesting. I watched a speed run of it, and like there's a weird thing where like there's a crossbow in the game where when the crossbow, when you shoot it, it pushes you back a little bit, and one of the speed running techniques is using that crossbow and pointing it straight down and jumping and then using it to fly because the pushback happens in the air as well.
Oh, okay.
So you can almost use like the Mario World cape to just like float through the air.
It's almost like infinite rocket jumping.
Yeah. Or and then the same crossbow also shoots through walls. So like speedrunners know where like the switches to open doors are, and they'll just shoot at a random wall, and then the crossbow bolt will hit the switch that you need to do to open up a door. Also, you could do it as like a pacifist run almost.
Okay.
Like you don't actually have to fight any of the bosses. You can literally just run past them if you know how. So it's a fun game. Anyway, let's get to questions. mail@rageselect.com is the email address. And our first question this week comes in from Leonardo, who says, "Hello, Rage Select. I recently found out that one of my distant relatives is a long-lost African prince, and he is so gracious to transfer millions of African dollars to me, and all I have to do is pay him $1,000 worth of Target gift cards, and he'll send me the codes. My question to you is, how should I spend my newfound wealth? And also, what are some scams in the gaming community some people might not be aware of?" You're a fan, and that's from Leonardo. Well, let's see. Is Warcraft 3 Reforged? No. I'm trying to think of scams. I mean, there's like the standard phishing thing, right? Where it's like you get, you need to reset your Steam account, or you need to reset your Epic Game thing, but it comes from an address that is not that.
And then also, like, sometimes I'll get like added to group conversations on my PS4 account.
Yeah.
Like where it's like, oh, if you want to buy subscription stuff for cheap, get a 1 year PS Plus for $10. Just go to this link.
Do you really get that?
Yeah, on my PS4.
I don't
all
get
the fucking time.
I don't get that on my PS4.
I get.
Where you been hanging out? What multiplayer lobbies have you been in?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah,
but I get them all. But like I get like it's funny because I'll just like turn on my PS4 because that's the other thing. I don't turn on my PS4 unless like there's like like it's weird. Like there was a period of time where I played PS4 exclusively because there was literally just exclusive game after exclusive game after exclusive game after exclusive game. But since then, like since the new year started, like I barely touched my PS4.
Yeah. There hasn't really been all that much.
Yeah.
That's been. I mean, I guess Yakuza, like the Yakuza 5. They finally dropped that last week, and so all the Yakuzas.
But yeah, so it's like I'll every now and then I'll turn on my PS4 and I'll just be like, oh, you have messages. Oh, let me see who messaged me. And it's like some rando person. They're not on my friends list. They just added me to some conversation or send me a message that they mass sent to like a bunch of people and it auto created a group or whatever. And it's like, this is spam. Like I'm getting spam emails on my fucking PS4 account.
That's so weird because I mean, maybe I do, and I just have never checked them because I've got like, my main PlayStation account is the Rage Select PlayStation account, so I've got literally hundreds of people that have added me to their friends list. So every so often, somebody will just
and these aren't even people that have these aren't even people that have added me. I don't think, or I think you can follow people without adding them now on PS4.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's just like I don't know. Let me just delete.
That's so strange. I was trying to.
I report every single one of them,
I've been trying to rack my brain, but I can't really think of any. I mean, like, I feel like if there was a scam to be had, maybe the email filter on my Thunderbird is strong enough that it's just getting rid of all of them before they get to me. But like, I don't really remember ever getting. I know that there's been some stuff on. I've seen a few things run through Discord, right, of people, adding or giving people links or something that then like exposes their password in Discord, and they use that to like get other people's passwords and stuff like that. And half of those I feel like are scams, but then I don't know. I feel like it's probably harder to scam gamers because I feel like most of the people that I know that play video games have a level of tech savviness that are not going to be drawn in by like, hey, click on this link and it'll make your PlayStation twice as fast.
Oh no, there's nothing like that. But there's usually it's just like, hey, click this link to buy this thing that'll like you can get a PlayStation Plus subscription for like 75% off.
Yeah,
or the only other scam I can really think of is really sketchy Kickstarters.
Mm-hmm. I guess it's kind of a scam. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm even trying to think all the way back. Like, you remember back in the old days when they're that software that was RAM Doubler? You remember RAM Doubler?
Yeah.
That was a scam, sort of, but not really. I don't know. It's hard to, you know what I think probably the biggest scam in video games is the problem is that they're so sketchy that I don't know who falls for them. But like, there was a whole thing where they would there'd be like a box that was made to look like a PlayStation 3 that was some Chinese weird thing, and then when you opened it,
spiders
came out. No, it looked like kind of like a PlayStation 3, but with off logos and stuff on it. And then when you plugged it in, it would just be like emulation of a bunch of crap games, and it wasn't like a very good console.
Yeah.
Or I know that I've seen a lot those
console knockoffs. Yeah.
Those horrible at the bottom of the website how they have all those clickbait things.
Yeah.
There's one that keeps coming up where it was like in South America, somebody modded GTA 4 and then made a box that said that it was like GTA 6 and then printed discs and then it sketchily got them into places that were selling pirated games in some weird bodega in Brazil or something like that. And so then every so often in these, I'll be like, Grand Theft Auto 6 is out. You won't believe it. And I'm like, I don't believe it because I follow gaming news. And if Grand Theft Auto 6 was out, I would know about it by now. But other than that, I don't really know. I don't know. I think a lot of this stuff just happens in the weird margins.
Yeah, I do. I am always sketchy about or feel iffy on these. Here's a handheld gaming console that has 625 games pre-built into it, and it's from all the games you loved from GameCube to this to that. It's a Raspberry Pi with an emulator on it or something.
Some of those are actually really good though,
and yeah, sure. Some of them are. I'm sure are pretty good. They're still technically illegal.
Oh yeah. But did you know I was I don't know if I mentioned this on the show before, but I was talking with my local sandwich man what also plays video games down at the sandwich store by my house.
I know which one you're talking about. Me and him talk all the time.
Yeah, and he had one of the PlayStation PSX Classics.
Yeah.
And he was telling me, and I looked it up, it was totally true that on Amazon and then on he said that there was even some of the Walmart places, there was a sketchy company that was selling a USB key that had a bunch of ROMs for PlayStation games on it that you could literally plug in to the PSX, and then it would inject some code to get all those games so you could play, and they were selling them individually. It'd be 30 fighting games or 40 racing games, right, from the PSX era. And they were literally just the actual ROMs being put onto a USB key that had some kind of code injection on it, and you could buy it on Amazon or you could buy it at a store. And I was like, how the fuck is this legal? And apparently there were some that also worked on the SNES Mini or the NES Classic or some of those things. And it was wow, I that was unexpected. I guess it's just one of those things where because Amazon has the floodgates so far open, they're not doing any
What's funny,
control on
Walmart
it.
is worse.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, because Walmart doesn't filter it. They just, if you have a seller account, you can sell whatever the fuck you want through Walmart's website.
My God.
And it is even less curated than Amazon's, because I've seen more sketchy shit on Walmart's site than I have ever on Amazon.
Okay. Also, some of those handhelds, I just want to go back to that because I'm really into that. With I got the Game Boy case for the Raspberry Pi, the small one, which never worked right. I need to get it working because I bought all of it last year, and then I was going to do a video about it, and then it didn't work. But I actually have gone to some YouTube channels where some of those are these weird Chinese knockoff ones that have some semi-sketchy firmware, but then there's homebrew communities that have fixed some of that stuff to make it easier to work with. That you can buy something that looks like a Game Boy Advance that totally runs like PlayStation games because it's got some kind of custom core. Not as many of them are Raspberry Pis. You would think they're like actually custom made units that they just sell in China because China doesn't give no fucks about that stuff. But it's interesting. Well, John, let's say that an actual Nigerian prince gave you $1 million. What would you, we don't have to go into too much detail, but what would be your first? What are you going to buy first? What are you going to get first with your newfound wealth from the Nigerian prince?
I'd probably buy a house somewhere and then travel.
Okay.
Like literally that's I'd buy a house somewhere, move in, and then maybe live there for a little bit, and then I'd make plans to travel for a little bit.
Okay.
And that'd probably also something, and this is actually kind of funny because this is something Amanda and I have always talked about, like if we ever just decided one day we're going to play the lottery and won the lottery, and the whole pie in the sky, what if $152 million just dropped into our bank account? And one of the things we talked about that we'd probably do is we'd go to all the Patreon accounts for all the people who we really like and just drop $10,000 here, $100,000 there, and
those weird Twitch videos where people will tip a Twitch streamer $15,000 or whatever. Yeah.
But email them saying, "Hey, we're doing this. It's legit. It's yours. You've provided me great content," but not we wouldn't do it to everybody. But just certain ones. And we've actually we'd be oh, we're going to pick 5, and then we have our 5 that we would do that with if it ever happened.
Mm-hmm. Or if you don't count Rage Select, because obviously that would be the first one. No. What about all the content that I've provided you over the years?
What about all the content I've provided you over the years, Jeff?
All right. Well, if I get $152 million, I'll give you money too. All right.
But no, all kidding aside. But no, it's just that's something we thought about doing. It's obviously Amanda, we'd open up a movie theater somewhere because Amanda really wants to do that.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we'd probably sit down, work out the logistics, and do if we had unfiltered. That's just me though, me. But as far as actual what bullshit stuff would I just splurge money on?
Yeah,
I'd probably buy a shit ton of fucking Kamen Rider and Sentai and shit.
Your dreams aren't. Your pie is so low, John. It's not.
Hey,
it's
I don't ask for much, man. I don't ask for much. I'd probably also go buy every DVD and Blu-ray of every movie and TV show that I like that I don't already own. But I don't have a lot of wants and needs, man. As long as I can live comfortably and buy the shit that I want to buy, I don't care.
I'm going to buy Taco Bell, the corporation, and stop this dumb horse shit that they do with rotating out their dumb specials. Also, I'm going to make them make good specials. I'm going to fix the dumb shit, and then I want to go to space. I want to own Taco Bell and go to space. That's what I want to do.
Open up a Taco Bell in space.
Space Taco Bell. Open up the first Taco Bell in space. Yeah, you got a good idea. Go to the moon. Open up a Taco Bell on the moon. Make sure that there's just one lonely person who has to work at the moon Taco Bell, just waiting. Someday, there's going to be somebody on the moon who needs a burrito, and Jeff's Taco Jeff is going to be ready to give them a burrito. Yeah. Or, just the same as what John said, buy a house and then do stuff. I was going to say just dogs. Buy $100 million worth of dogs.
If we got a house, we would literally have so many more dogs than we have. Mm-hmm. We have one dog right now. We'd have so many more dogs.
I would no dog. I would shut down every dog shelter in Austin, and they all just can come live at my house. And then if you need a dog, you just come to Jeff's house, and I'll be like, "Oh man, what kind of dog do you want? I got so many dogs. Look at all these dogs. They're just running around. It's like a big cartoon dust cloud with paws and snouts and tails coming out of it." And I'll be like, "Just reach into the dust cloud, grab your dog, little girl." And it's "Aha, a terrier. Great. Go, get out of here." I think there might be a llama in there. Don't grab that one. You don't want it. It spits. Yep. Our next question comes in from Kenny. Kenny says, Dear Jeff and John, I've just finished watching The Mandalorian, and I loved it, especially the first 5 minutes of the last episode. I've also started rewatching The Clone Wars in preparation for Season 7 coming out later this month. Also, since I have Game Pass, I've begun playing Knights of the Old Republic for the first time. I love KOTOR so far, especially the light and dark mechanics. I embrace the dark side. That's a lot of Star Wars for one person. My questions are, would you like to see a KOTOR / BioWare-like game set during the Clone Wars? Do you think it would be viable to play as Anakin Skywalker in such a game? What would you do to make this the greatest game ever? Engage the rage, your loyal patron, Kenny.
Here's the thing. I will say this.
Okay.
I would love for a modern take on Knights of the Old Republic. It doesn't have to be set in the timeline or be a remake of it.
Sure.
But like that style of Star Wars game with modern mechanics, with modern take, with modern graphics, completely original story. Can be any time frame in the Star Wars universe. Don't care if it's in the Old Republic. Don't care if it's during the Clone Wars. Don't care if it takes place during the current trilogy that just ended. It could be after the current trilogy that just ended. I don't fucking care. But if any of those mechanics, I would be down for.
Okay.
I'm just saying that.
I still don't have a lot of great love for the Clone Wars. I tried watching it, and it was like, this is okay. It's like I felt for years that people were like, you got to watch Clone Wars. You got to watch Clone Wars. And I'm like, I don't like the prequels very much. Like, no, but the Clone Wars, it's good. You got to watch it. You got to watch it. And then I like watched 2 seasons of it, and I was like, eh. And they're like, well, did you watch it in the order that was on Netflix? And I'm like, well, yeah. It's like, no, Netflix put it all in the wrong order. Here, I'll send you a spreadsheet with the order that you have to watch the show in. Just go back to the beginning and start watching again. And I was like, no, thank you. No, thank you. That's enough. I'm not going to. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do what you just said. That's ridiculous. So I'm never, but I do like the Gennady Tartakovsky, whatever, the animated, the original Clone Wars one. Wars, I liked that one. I have to say that if I was going to play a Clone Wars game, I do not think I would want to play as any of the actual characters. Like, I want to make my own character. Right?
Yeah.
I don't want to be Anakin Skywalker.
And I think that's the beauty of KOTOR, is that even though you are, a character, you get to make your character.
I think the spoiler time is up on Knights of the Old Republic.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, for all I know, this person is still playing. I don't want to spoil them for them if they don't know.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, you get to make your character from scratch. You get to decide who your character is, and even if even with the twist at the end of it and all of that, it's still your character,
right?
And you play it how you want to play it.
Yep.
If you are playing as Anakin Skywalker,
full dark side right away. Full dark side Anakin Skywalker. I'm going to become Darth Vader before the movies even do it.
You go around killing the young ones.
Yeah.
But no, it's just like there's less of a, like, for example, Jedi Fallen Order. Like, I mean, obviously, you're not choosing light and dark side powers in that one so much at all. But it's like but because that is a created character that I didn't create, and I already know enough about that character, I'm going to play it a certain way differently than I would if I had a character that was essentially a blank slate and I was the one who decided what that character was.
Yep.
So for a game that is in the style of KOTOR, I feel like that's part of the appeal of it, is that you are deciding what this character is.
Absolutely.
And you are deciding how they move forward. You can't do something like that with a character that has a backstory already and is already an established character that you already know the future of that character.
Yeah. Yeah. And in fact, I think that in a lot of ways, the fact that KOTOR was so separated from, even at the that was post prequel trilogy, right?
Like, that's hundreds of years.
No. When the game came out, though, was that after the prequels and then KOTOR came out, or was KOTOR before the actual movie?
It might have come out around the time of the prequels. I don't remember.
I don't think all of them were out.
Not all of them.
I don't think all of them were out.
They weren't all out, but I'm pretty sure, like...
But just the separation of KOTOR from any of the established canon, to me, made it better, because one of the things that bothers me so much about Star Wars is that, and this is a big thing with the new trilogy, but I think it's also some stuff that's happened with some of the prequel games, is that once you get too close to the established stories in the Star Wars franchise, then your options are very limited for what you can do storytelling. Like in some ways, it's very satisfying to tie that stuff in. Like the whole joke from back in the old days, right, was it was always about the Death Star plans.
Yeah.
So Kyle Katarn was trying to get the Death Star plans in Dark Forces, right? That was the plot of Dark Forces 1?
I think so, something like that.
And then didn't what's his face also try to get the Death Star plans in Shadows of the Empire? Was Shadows of the Empire also Death Star plans? No, it didn't have anything to do with that. Okay,
no. The Shadows of the Empire was just literally what happens between Empire and Return of the Jedi.
Okay,
that's why it was Shadows of the Empires, because it took place right after Empire.
Right.
By the way, to answer your question, episode 1 and episode 2 had come out by the time because KOTOR came out in 2003, Attack of the Clones came out in 2002, Revenge of the Sith came out in 2005.
Okay. I wasn't the biggest fan in the world of Jedi Fallen Order, but the one thing that I thought Jedi Fallen Order did well was that it kind of moved away from a lot of what the movies have done, because it meant that you could just tell whatever story you wanted to. It was unfortunate that, like, my least favorite part of Jedi Fallen Order was when it did start to bump up against characters in the movies, because it was like, I don't know, you're on this weird thing. Like at the end of the Force, the Darth situation, which Force Unleashed.
Force Unleashed 1 and 2.
You beat up Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Right? But it's like it's like a what if story, right?
Yeah. Well, if you go, you beat up Darth Vader, but then, like, depending on if you chose light side or dark side, the light side, Vader's beat up, but you don't kill him or anything. And he's but you do something to sacrifice and kill yourself, and then that ends up creating the Rebel Alliance. And it's a little fanficky, but it still could fit if you went the other way, where you kill Darth Vader and become the new apprentice of the Emperor.
Right.
That one is obviously the alternate path. Yeah. But
in any case, to me, the reason I like The Mandalorian so much was because it wasn't part of the Space Wizards thing. I'm so tired of that. It's literally been the one story of Star Wars for my entire life. It was why I think that so many people were interested in Star Wars 1313, because it was like, hey, look, no Jedis. We can just have a crime action story. It doesn't always have to be lightsabers and the dark side.
And also,
right?
it was on Coruscant, which is a big, how do you do planet in the Star Wars lore?
Right.
That there's not a lot of, established in canon still stuff about.
Yeah.
Like the Coruscant is just kind of a place that's talked about, and it's viewed sort of in the prequels.
Yeah. Episode 2 probably was the most, where you had the whole assassination plot.
Yeah, but even then it's very little of it.
Yeah.
And then it's like referenced in the original trilogy, I think, once.
Yeah.
I think it's name dropped.
Yeah.
And
then they added that scene in the special edition after the second Death Star blows up, where they're pulling down the statues and stuff.
Yeah.
But.
So, I mean, it's one of those things where, it's there being a game where it was like the seedy underbelly, the area of Coruscant you haven't seen.
Yeah.
Was totally interesting, because it was new. Yep. It was different, and you were supposed to be you were running from bounty hunters or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I would totally be down for that. Let's see what else we got here. Kevin has a short one. He says, what do y'all think of the new Dead Cells DLC? I'm really liking the Rogue Metroidvania vibes it's created. Rage on from Kevin. I think I addressed this a little bit when we had the trailer. But
you did.
Did you have not ever gotten into Dead Cells?
No, I never really played it. I think it's on Game Pass.
Yes, it is.
I haven't tried to play it or anything like that.
Dead Cells is amazing. It's so good. Like, I think we played it for Super Awesome Video Game Show when it was in beta, right?
Back when it was the
early access.
Literally, it was just the basic. Like, I even think the character design for the main character didn't look anything like. Yeah. Like, I think it just looked like a regular person. It didn't even look like what it looks like now.
No, I think the head was still the same thing. Anyway, there's been so much work done on that game.
Yeah.
And
it was a completely different game by the time it actually came out.
It's so good. It's like, it's very, once you get the rhythm of it down, it's a real fast paced. That's what's so interesting about it, is that I think that there was some comparison of it to Souls, with the kind of like rolling, avoiding things and the low amounts of health regeneration, like trying to get to the end and then kind of having to start over if you fuck up.
Yeah.
But like once you get the hang of it, boy, it's satisfying. It's like, and it's so easy to just pick up and like go. And then what I love most about it though is that as you play it, you're unlocking things so that every run like makes you more powerful. So it's less like Spelunky, where Spelunky's all about you getting good at playing Spelunky, and it's more one of those roguelikes where you get a leg up, right? So like pretty early on, you pick up the currency from the guys that you kill, and you can put that into like getting a health potion that you can use in the level. Like you start out with none of that, and then as it goes on, you unlock perks and new types of weapons and stuff like that all make you more powerful. So, and then what I didn't even know about it was that you actually, when you beat the game for the first time, it dumps you back to the beginning and you don't get anything, and then you have to beat the game a second time, and then you get a boss like soul, and then that boss soul you have to turn it on, and it basically brings you into like a new game plus where everything is harder, but then you get more rewards for doing it, and you literally have to then find the next boss who's, when you kill them, they give you another soul, and then that gives you new game plus. So in order to beat the game, you literally have to beat the game on like new game +5. So like the game's arc, it makes you powerful enough to make the game a lot easier, but then once you feel like you've got a good handle on the game, then it ratchets up the base difficulty level to compensate for that, but then it gives you more rewards so that you can progress further up the chain of making you more powerful, which is a really elegant way of taking a roguelike and then making it iterate in a way that's going to make you have to work harder at it instead of just being like, I'm super OP and I can destroy everything with one hit. So I like it, Kevin. I think everybody should play it. I think you got Game Pass, you should play it. I don't think if you don't have Game Pass, you should play it. And I think that if you've got it, you should totally give them $5 for the DLC, because they added a whole like costume system where you can put different outfits on, and like a bunch of different like daily challenges and stuff that were not in the game originally. So, all right, let's do some Discord questions. Let's see. Septum Sin writes in and says, "Dear Rage Lords, of course I am very much into films, and I end up watching the Oscars every year, much like many do the Super Bowl. This year was exceptional, with Korean film Parasite taking 4 major awards, including Best Picture, making it the first foreign language film to do so. Video games also have their share of surprises, like the new Doom going against the loot box trend of these days. Are there any surprises you had where a creator or company went against a trend in a good way? Your Patreon, Septum Sin." So, we're talking about games where you were pleasantly surprised when something that you didn't expect happening, you were like, "Oh shit, that's awesome." It's kind of hard.
Yeah, it is.
I think that
it doesn't happen often.
Yeah, well, the problem is I feel like we're gonna have a lot of the same answers that we have with a lot of the stuff that just stands out. Like, I was thinking, RE7 was a huge surprise to me.
Yeah.
Even after they showed it, even after we played the demo for it, I felt like I was like, oh, well, you just made PT. You made the Resident Evil version of PT, because you remember that demo when we played it, it was just the house with a very small amount of things to do. I think they gave you the gun at the end, but there weren't any enemies in it. And then, like, when you actually went to play the game, it seemed like it was going to be more of like a walking simulator, like a PT thing. And then, Mia's throwing you all around everywhere, and then you get the gun and the hatchet, and then you're like, oh, okay, well, I guess that was like an action sequence. And then when you wake back up again and you're tied to the chair, the family is there, and then you run away from Jack. And then suddenly, like, 40 minutes after that, you get a gun and the molded are everywhere, and suddenly it's like, oh, no, there's like just enemies here for me to shoot at. Like, this is like a Resident Evil game in a lot of ways. It just takes like 2 hours plus to get to the point where the game is like a first-person version of a Resident Evil game and not more like this walking simulator thing. That was a big surprise to me, because I didn't really expect it. Again, I feel like I'm going to repeat myself a lot with this, but Doom 2016, to this day, I don't understand how they got that so right. Like, especially because I thought that Doom had been kind of steadily getting worse over the years. Like, Doom 2 is fine, but it's just more Doom 1. Like, it's not really that big of a difference from Doom 1. I still think that Doom 3 is not very good, regardless of if you mod in a flashlight or not. Like, the story wasn't as good, and the game just wasn't as good. A lot of monster closets. And then suddenly Doom looked like it was just going to be more like cashing in on the name, and then you play it, and it's like, holy fuck. A lot of those games that have come up on my list, like, I was always kind of somewhat interested in Hitman, but then the Hitman 2016, it was just like amazing. Like, it totally kind of came out of nowhere and just floored me with how good it was, especially considering all the signs with the episodic version of it, whatever.
Yeah.
They all pointed to, like, this isn't going to be very good. And in fact, the first episode I thought wasn't very good. The ICA facility, right? Like, making that the whole thing, and then you had to wait 2 months to get to Paris, and even Paris was like, okay. And then suddenly you get to Sapienza, and it's just like, oh, holy shit, I see what this game actually is. What else? Epic doing that thing where they lowered the cut they were taking from the people that were buying assets or putting up assets and then selling assets. I just feel like you don't see that many companies that are like, sure, we'll take less money. We don't need all that money. Here, have a thing that's nice. Anything? You got anything?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to just think of like a good example of a corporation or game company just doing something that surprised me in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I think of that, my last thought is, oh, it surprised me that they made a good game. That's kind of not really my thing.
What's a company that you're surprised they made a good game?
I mean, anytime any company makes a good game, with the exception of Remedy, all Remedy's games are good. But they don't make bad games. But like, any game company makes a good game, I'm happy. But like, I'm just trying to think of like instances where developers have done something where you thought that they were going to screw over somebody or screw over the customer base or do something shady, and then they just kind of came out and did the exact opposite in a
like a good way.
Yeah, in a good way. And I'm trying to think of like a situation like that, and I can't think of anything because there's so few and far between in our industry.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. Still having a hard time.
And a lot of times, and the sad thing about it is, I feel like sometimes when you think about things that should be, like in retrospect, should have been like, oh man, that was really good on them to do that. That was a good idea, and that ended up being a positive thing.
Yeah.
Like, you think about your reaction to when it was announced, and it's suddenly like, oh no, we were all talking about like that was the worst thing in the history of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, Microsoft saying, hey, you bought it on Xbox, it's yours on PC as well.
Right.
Like, that's actually a really solid thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's actually like good.
It's really unexpected.
Yeah. But when it happened, it was like, oh, fuck them, because Windows Store, and they just want people on their Windows Store, and there's ulterior motives behind it. They can go fuck themselves with this bullshit. They've just ruined the console industry. Why would people buy a console game now when they just get it on their PC? Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, that was our reaction, but if you actually think about it, it's actually a really good thing. That you don't see, like, if a Sony game is released on Steam, like, say, Horizon Zero Dawn or whatever, you bought it on Sony, you have to rebuy it on PC if you want to buy it on PC.
Yep.
Like, it's not one of those things where, oh, you bought it on this, you also get it on that.
Yep.
And mind you, it's not every game on the Xbox it's like that. It's just the first-party games.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, that's, I don't know, like stuff like that I think is interesting. Or when a company fucks up in some way. I think for CD Projekt Red, wasn't there something with like either The Witcher 2 or Witcher 3 where they messed up something and then they like actually came out and like good faith did something?
I don't know. I know that I was thinking about how The Witcher 2, they did a lot of like fixing on The Witcher 2, the console version especially. Like they redid the whole tutorial. They added a whole new tutorial in. There was like several sets of DLC that came out that were just like free for everyone.
Speaking of people, No Man's Sky.
Yeah,
like them actually going, you know what? We overpromised.
Yep,
and we deserve all the hate we're getting. We're gonna fix it, and every DLC is gonna be free.
Yep,
like we're not gonna charge you for DLC.
Yep,
for the life of this game, and they have it.
Yep,
and they've
for like major DLCs. Like huge content updates.
Like that's something that's shocking and like is like holy shit, that was for the good. Like whether you play that game or not, that's still something that no company has ever done.
Yeah. It's unfortunate though that it seems to have had a little bit of the knock-on effect of then like having. I feel like we've seen more and more games coming out that seem like they're half finished, and then it's like, well, we'll fix it later. Just buy it now, we'll fix it later, type of thing.
Unfortunately, that's an unintended side effect of that. But yeah,
did you watch the Academy Awards, John?
I did not.
I was looking it up, and I think I've watched more of the Academy Award nominated movies this year than I have for most other years because. Parasite, Joker, Ford v Ferrari, and I think there was like one more that I saw. But...
we bought Parasite. We haven't watched it yet. It's on our again. We have a giant stack of Blu-rays of. We actually have 3 stacks of Blu-rays. There's
you guys and all these movies are just sitting around in your house.
No, they are. Technically, if you want to even go as far, there's a 4th stack that's not really a stack. It's a shelving unit of Blu-rays.
Okay.
That some have been watched and some haven't because there's our horror movies that we try to pull from whenever Halloween rolls around because Amanda likes to do her like Halloween movie a day leading up to Halloween. Sometimes it's 100 movies. Sometimes she tries to go higher. Sometimes she decides to go lower. But we have just every horror movie we've ever gotten in that sex. Some of them we've watched. Some of them we haven't.
I'm going to buy you like a stand-up coffin that is also has slots to put Blu-rays and DVDs
I would fucking love that. But no, we have like
once I get the $1 million from this the Nigerian prince.
Yeah, and then there's like two or three other stacks, which like there's one stack of movies as movies we've never seen, movies and TV shows that we bought on Blu-ray that we knew we were going to want that we have not watched, that we bought purely on word of mouth or we wanted to see them and they were super fucking cheap.
Yeah,
and then we have another stack that's stuff that we've seen or we've seen part of that we bought because we loved what we watched, but we haven't watched that specific copy yet since we bought it.
Okay.
So we have like 2 different stacks, but that's definitely on the.
And then there's a stack that just has Children of Men in it that will never be opened or watched. It's the
that's not on a stack. That's on
stack.
The shelf. That's that one has been opened, but it's never been watched because I had a roommate that asked if he could open it and watch it, and I was like, if you can, just make sure I'm not in the fucking house when you do it.
Okay. So you haven't watched Parasite?
No, but it's on our short list. Like I think last week Friday we were trying to decide which one to watch, Parasite or The Lighthouse, because we bought both of them at the same time. And I think it was just we did a coin toss and it ended up being The Lighthouse.
Okay,
because it was literally we're like, well, we don't want to watch both tonight, but we want to watch one of them since we bought the Blu-rays.
Oh,
so
man, I
let's
watched
flip a coin.
I watched a shitload of these. Parasite. I watched Ford v Ferrari, The Irishman.
I want to watch Ford v Ferrari.
It was really good.
It just came out on Blu-ray.
Yeah, it was really good. It was like I've been kind of holding off on it in a lot of ways because everybody's just like, oh, it's such a dad movie, and I'm like, well, I'm not a dad. I can't watch this movie. And then I watched it and I was like, oh shit, I got to get married now. It was great. It was, I mean, like the one of the things that I feel like I forgot for some reason is like, oh right, Christian Bale and Matt Damon are both like really good actors.
Yeah.
So you can just like watch them do whatever. So it was Ford v Ferrari, The Irishman, which I watched, Jojo Rabbit.
I will never watch The Irishman.
I watched it. Jojo Rabbit, which I really liked. Joker, which I thought was fine. And then the ones I didn't watch were Little Women Marriage Story 1917 and then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I watched and I liked as well. You know, it's funny. I liked Parasite fine, but I kind of feel like it's been a little overhyped. Or I think it is very much a movie for people that are... you know what? Yesterday I said this to Michael, and I think this is 100% true, and I think that it's a good thing to say out loud, and I think it's something that everybody should know about me, Jeff from Rage Light. I don't like movies as much as other people like movies. There are a lot of people out there in the world. I like movies. I mean, don't get me wrong. I watch a shitload of them. But, like, there are a lot of people out in the world that just get, like, the majesty of cinema. You know, it's a transcendent experience to see the art, the cinematography, the sound design. I'm just like, all right, were there, like, ninjas and explosions? Like, my favorite movie from 2019 was Avengers Endgame because I am a basic vanilla bitch. And, like, yes, Parasite is about class struggle, and it's shot beautifully, and it's got a wonderful score, but I want to see Captain America throw a shield at some shit, and like that's what really gets me going. And like I liked all of these movies, but I've watched Avengers Endgame like a bunch of times, and I liked Ford v Ferrari. I probably won't ever watch it again. Okay. So
yeah, I figure with Ford v Ferrari, I'll probably wait till it pops up on like Netflix or Amazon Prime or Hulu or whatever.
Super worth watching. They're all super worth watching.
But yeah, no, it's definitely, you know, I am definitely one of those people. I love movies. I love watching movies, but I don't like.
You like the majesty of the cinema?
So I'm somewhere like right between that, and I think where you are.
Okay.
I think both Amanda and I are somewhere between. Like we do think there is a magic and a you know, there is something special about movies. There's just this great thing about them. There's watching them at home, watching them in a theater with other people. You know, actually an experience. You know, as an experience, all of that. It's great. I love all of it.
Yeah.
But I am also not the type of person to be like, auteurs, and right. You know, like I'm not quite film criticism, but like I'm like a hair away from it.
Sure, man. And I want to make it very clear that I'm not like I say it sarcastically, but I'm not looking down on anybody who is like that.
We know like a ton of people who are film critics.
Yeah, it's just that like the people that I know that are film critics. I mean, fuck, I work for Spill for God's sake, and then hang out with people that are from there and shit.
Yeah,
you know, all these people that are just all up in their cups about movies and stuff like that, and. I think it's fine. It's just that a lot of times people get really, really, really passionate about movies in a way that I'm not passionate.
Yeah.
And then those same movie buff people, a lot of those movie buff people, they're like me about movies, about video games. Whereas I am... You talking about the majesty, the cinema, like that's how I feel about video games. Yeah. Because like I look at like tiny game mechanics and I'm just like, what beauty, what simplicity, what majesty this one rolling mechanic has. Look at the keyframes on it. Look at how it cancels the other action and it gives you a way to escape from danger. How wonderful. How much time did this person spend thinking about it? And everybody's just like, well, it's like the dodge button. And I'm like, no, but you must look at the dodge frames. How many invincibility frames are there, and how does that affect the way that you go into every encounter? And people are just like, all right, fucking...
It's just dead cells, man.
It's just dead cells. And I'm like, yeah. So that's how I get that way about video games. But then so many people get that way about movies and TV shows and stuff that like, you know, it gets hard. I mean,
they're like that with comic books. They're like that with everything. Well, comic books, movies, TV, video games,
Animes,
all that stuff, anime.
Yep.
You know, and I'm kind of I dabble in all of it, but not to the point of that I like get pretentious as fuck.
Yep.
About it.
Yep. Anyway. I don't talk too much more about this because we're already running out of time. Professor Thorgy writes in and says, Dear Rage Man and John, what's a game that you really enjoyed that had terrible levels? I recently finished Code Vein, and I really enjoyed it. Great boss fights, lots of secrets and collectibles, and a rewarding upgrade tree with tons of variety, but there were about 3 levels in the game that were so irritating that they made me want to eat my own hands so I wouldn't have to keep playing. A swamp where I couldn't see in front of my own face, an Orlando-style cathedral that looped around for what felt like forever, and a stage where everything was on fire! Don't get me wrong, now that it's all over, I'm glad that I stuck with it, but it did make me think about bad levels in good games. Thanks, and that's from Professor Thorgy.
Dragon Age 2.
That's
because I actually think that game, mechanically, story structure, is the best Dragon Age game in the franchise. Holy fucking shit, is that level design fucking garbage for the entire game.
Yeah, it's kind of bad.
Like, it is garbage.
Kind of bad. I don't know if I would go all the way, and I haven't finished it, so I can't make a 100% on this. But like, I'm playing Astral Chain,
okay,
and I didn't realize that like half of Astral Chain takes place in this futuristic city that's really interesting, and the other half takes place in a world filled up with red squares, red cubes.
Yeah,
and like platforms made out of red cubes, and small areas that you have to navigate made out of red cubes, and here's some other red cubes, and it's just like, boy, this is uninteresting to look at. It's just a bunch of red cubes. Like, it's not, it's not that interesting to look at. And I feel like I've been duped. Like, there was supposed to be more level design in this game, but you ran out of time. So they were like, I don't know, just make half of it out of red cubes. Now, I'm only about a third of the way through the game, so who knows? Maybe like it really opens up into something amazing.
It does some really avant-garde shit with red cubes, man.
I mean,
really going to be into it.
Hey, man, Control was my game of the year, and there's cubes aplenty in Control, right?
And there's a lot of red.
There's a lot of red. There's a lot of cubes. I'm not saying I don't have anything objectionable about red cubes. It's just that, like, there's long stretches of things where I'm like, oh, you got to platform over onto this red cube, and then you got to jump onto this red cube to go up like an elevator, and then jump onto a different red cube, and it's just like, I mean, how about like green cubes? Maybe this level's made out of like green cubes or blue cubes or like yellow cubes or yellow triangles.
You don't want the yellow cubes.
Pink circles, blue clovers, green clovers, blue diamonds, purple horseshoes, anything but just red squares. Let's see. Games with bad level design. Games with bad.
Yeah, literally the only one that pops in my head is Dragon Age 2.
The thing is that I think that level design is so important that I'm trying to think of a game that had bad level design, but I liked it anyway.
Yeah.
Kill.Switch didn't have the world's greatest level design. There's a lot of just repetitive stuff. Trying to think here. Let's see. Let's go through all the different video game franchises in my head.
What's the Final Fantasy 13 with the one with the long hallways?
Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah.
Where the whole entire game is one hallway.
Yeah.
And then you get to the end.
That's bad level design.
I would like to talk about that.
I know you love that game.
I look, I think the Final Fantasy 13 sequels are way better than the original Final Fantasy, but I get why people are frustrated. I really do. But in a lot of ways, is Final Fantasy really as much about like walking around? Like, if you're going from one town in Final Fantasy to another town in Final Fantasy, and you go to the overworld map, and then you walk between one town and another town, and in between you get into 3 random fights with fucking kobolds or cactars or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, what if all you did was exit the one town and you got into 3 fights, and then you got to let me ask like this question. What's the difference between a game where you have an overworld map and we walk between places, or you just bring up a list of places to go to and then go to the place? Like, is the big empty world between the two places interesting, or is it just that because the world was laid out like one big hallway, you felt like you weren't going to different places, even though I feel like when they say a big hallway, I mean, like, you're going to different areas in the world, and there's different scenery, and there's different enemies, and there's different types of bosses. Like, it's not just like,
I know, I'm just being facetious.
But I think that game gets a lot of flack for that in some ways, where I'm like, I ask myself a lot, does the random wandering mechanic of a lot of RPGs what does it add to the game? Does it add a lot to the game? Or is it that not having that makes you feel like you're being something has been taken away from you, but you never actually consider whether or not that thing was good? Because I feel like in a lot of ways that walking between the towns part of Final Fantasy sucks ass, because I'm trying to get to the next story beat, like fighting the kobolds in between. Well, I mean, that's just like, attack, and then like go to the next place. You make a case that you say that JRPGs big things are the boss fights. Even Professor Thorgy is saying that the boss fights in Code Vein seemed like they were the good part, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I ask all the time, like, is that random weird work where you have to get into random fights walking in between places? How much value does that have to your gameplay experience? Is it just a way to slow you down so you don't just rocket through the story? Or like, because I was thinking, and while I was talking about this, how L.A. Noire is an open world game, and it probably shouldn't have been.
Oh no, that game should not have been open world.
It probably would have been fine if it was a big hallway, a series of levels, right?
Yeah.
That was like a little series of rooms instead of having to get in a car and drive somewhere because there's nothing to do in between. There was no reason to have to go from place to place.
Yeah.
So
they never gave you a reason to get out of the car outside of driving from one place to the next.
Right.
I think the second Mafia game did that too, where it just kind of felt Mafia 2.
Like it was
where it's just kind
empty.
of it was just kind of the world was empty, and it just kind of like, why is this kind of feels pointless.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's something to think about. Let's see. Jonathan Scratch says, "Dear Jeff and John, I don't have a question so much as a general uneasy feeling." Well, I don't know what we can do as much about that, but we'll do our best. Final Fantasy VII Remake is something that I have deeply ambivalent feelings for. It's a very important game for me, and seeing it so lovingly rendered is probably like you seeing Metal Gear 1 get the same treatment. The logic part of my brain, however, is constantly shouting, but the same assholes responsible for Kingdom Hearts 3 are making it. But Little John Scratch just plugs his ears. Definitely. How can someone manage expectations when something is so directly targeted? Is that even possible? Is that even worth the time and energy when you care this much? I truly apologize if John is co-hosting this week.
I don't care.
P.S. Jeff, who's your Children of Morta main? Kevin, or the Dagger Teen, as I call him, constantly got me farther than anyone else. Much love. And that's from Jonathan Scratch. I hate Kevin. He was my least favorite character to play because he just didn't have very many defensive options, and I didn't like him as much as the other ones.
Okay.
There's a little girl, I forget what her name is.
Yeah.
Red hair, she shoots fireballs. She was the one I beat most of the game with.
Okay.
So.
Now, I will say, last week, I was being partially, like, overly rude, mean about people who are looking forward to that game.
You were exaggerating your feelings?
Yeah, a little bit. For comedic effect. I do feel like Final Fantasy VII is the most overhyped game in all of existence. Like, that is true.
Yeah.
But I think I referred to people who are looking forward to that game as weeaboos who just like please the weeaboos and get that shit out the door. I think is something I said. They're if you're looking forward to the game, that's fine. I don't care. But I'm not. Like I like Final Fantasy VII. Like I think it's a very good game. I do feel it's overhyped.
I feel like you and I need to just record like a 10-minute disclaimer about Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
And then just every time we talk about it, it can just be like, if you feel bad, go listen to the thing. Go listen to the thing that we recorded.
Yeah, but I don't think that Final Fantasy VII Remake ever needed to exist. But the fact that it's going to exist, hey, cool, whatever, man. It's probably going to be good. Though apparently they just released a bunch of screenshots of characters and what's the fucking cat creature's name?
Carbuncle.
Carbuncle looks fucking weird.
He's got like a big
like I was like
Professor.
I saw it and I was like, what the fuck is that supposed to be? And then someone was like, that's Carbuncle. I was like, no, it's not.
Yep. It's very, very strange looking. It's got a real tall head.
Yeah, it's like a cone head. But no, it's weird. But and that's whatever. I think as long as it ends up being good, I'll be happy in that people can experience a good game. Like that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, will I play Final Fantasy VII? Maybe. I'm sure at some point I'll play the remake. I'm not going to go buy it, but like I'm not. If it was offered to me, like if Jeff was like, "I beat it," and John, do you want to play it? And I'll be like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." I'll play it, but I'm not. As far as like tempering expectations, I buy the WWE games in hopes that they're really good, and they get worse all the time. So I'm not the person to ask about this.
Yeah, well, so I killed my cold machine heart a long time ago by getting my expectations up and getting them dashed, and getting my expectations up and getting them dashed to the point where, I feel like it's like, when you're a teenager and like, you fall in love with people super easy, and then you like get your heart mangled a bunch of times, and then you're just like, let's go out 7 to 40 times, and then I'll see if it's worth it. I'm not shoving my hand back in the cheese grater right away. That's kind of how I am with video games, but I have a different A lot of it too is the fact that since I started doing this job, like the sheer number of games that I play has done things to the way that my brain works. That would like I'm a different type of game person than I was back before I started doing this for a living. I mean, on a good week, we play like 10 great games, like 10 awesome games potentially, or 9 or 10 games in a week, like because we've got the 5 normal ones, we've got 3 Patreons, and then we've got the sequential and Red Dead and whatnot. So I think that for me, a lot of it has just been before I started doing this. You get your hopes up for one game, and then you would be looking forward to one game because you weren't buying 5 games every week of your life, right? You weren't buying fucking Senran Kagura Peach Beach Splash. You weren't like playing.
Maybe you weren't. No, I wasn't either. But
like I would never have bought Murdered Soul Suspect if I was just getting stuff for myself.
I also feel like that game gets a bit of a bad rap.
Oh yeah,
like I don't think it's worth $60, but I bought it for like $5 on a sale. The game's perfectly fine.
I mean, I was just talking about how the Division 2 is worth $3.
Yeah.
Like, a game that's $5, I'll buy that. Like that's less than the cost of the normal order I get at Taco Bell, right? Like fucking fine, I'll get whatever your game is. If
I was like,
$5.
what was that game that was Obsidian that was like the Bourne Identity wannabe, but it was like using
Alpha Protocol.
Alpha Protocol.
Yeah.
Alpha Protocol. Perfectly fine game. I actually think it's a lot. Another game I actually think is a lot better than people gave it credit for. Is it a great game? No, but was it worth like the $15 I maybe spent on it when I bought it? Yeah.
This week there was a spin-off game from the Bendy and the Ink Machine thing that's like a top-down with the dog character, the Goofy character, and it's basically just like walking around these randomly, or I don't know if they're randomly generated or if they're just randomly presented to you, trying to find like a number of items that are in the level, and all the while Bendy is coming after you, and you can hide in these closets and then come out. There's like a stamina meter. Very basic game. It is $1 on Steam. Like it is nice. $1. Michael and I played it for Patreon. It's just like, yeah, that's fine for $1. But I don't know. I mean, like, I don't think I can give you a way to stop being excited about things. If I knew how to control my emotions to that level, I'd be married by now. But like, I don't know if there's not really a way. The only thing I could say is that, if you can not don't let yourself buy into, try not to let yourself buy into the hype. It's fine to be excited about things.
I would say don't buy into the nostalgia, because here's what I will say about Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
And this is my honest opinion here, and hate it or love it.
You don't like it.
I don't care. No. I think it'll be an okay game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be Final Fantasy VII. Mm-hmm. And by that I mean it is not going to play. We already know it's not going to play like Final Fantasy VII. Mm-hmm. It'll have all the story beats, but it won't be the same game in a sense. And some people are going to love that because it's going to be a different type of gameplay, and it's going to be something new and more modern, and be the type of game that they would want to play now. Some people are going to fucking hate it. Mm-hmm. And then there's going to be some people who never played a Final Fantasy game, and this is the first one that they were playing because they've heard so many great things about Final Fantasy VII being the best of the entire franchise, and they're going to play it and be like, oh man, this is pretty good. Mm-hmm. But I can guarantee you that if you're a fan of the original and you're wanting to play this because it's a remake of the original game and modern game mechanics and things like that, don't get your hype up too much, because there's that. It's not going to be the same game.
I think it really depends on when you last played Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Like Jennifer, she played Final Fantasy VII all the time. It's like her favorite game. She would just like replay it like every year. I'm just gonna sit down and play Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, it's like I do with Alan Wake,
right?
And Brutal Legend. You sit down once a year, play it.
And if you do that, then I think you're going to be much more prone to. It depends on whether you have allowed yourself to internalize the fact that it's going to be different. It's going to be different than the previous one. But if you're like me and you played Final Fantasy VII when it came out and you haven't ever gone back and played it since, you're probably going to be fine, because you're probably going to remember vague story beats from Final Fantasy VII. Like, the only reason I remember as much as I did was because I listened again to the Watch Out for Fireballs guys do their whole Final Fantasy VII, where they went through the entire plot in detail. Like, I remember probably the beginning and probably the end, and not a lot from the middle. Not a lot
I get
from all the Wu Tai and the crater and all that stuff. Like, I didn't really remember any of that shit. So
yeah, but I just mean, like, it's not going to be that. I don't think the experience is going to be the same either. Is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that
the Square doesn't make those games anymore.
Yeah, they don't.
Square doesn't make those games where you got 3 guys lined up on one side, 3 monsters on the other side, and you tell them to attack.
I just mean that like the experience of playing the game is not going to be the same. Like, even if it was 100% the same game just with better graphics, I still don't think the experience would be the same. So that's something you gotta temper, is the hype for that nostalgia. Now, do you think it looks like a good game? If the answer is yes, then hey, be hyped. And when you play it, it'll either meet those expectations or it won't. Look at it as you would any other game. All I can really say.
Let's see. Here's what I'm going to say. Okay, let me just look this up real fast. What day does it come out again? It is coming out on April 10th. All right, let's go to the calendar. March, April 10th is a Friday. Okay, here's what I'm going to suggest. Manage your expectations, don't manage your expectations. Final Fantasy X or Final Fantasy VII Remake comes out on a Friday in April. Don't buy it on Friday. Like, watch some videos, read some reviews, and if it's one of these like Warcraft 3 Reforged things where it comes out and everybody's like, boo, because critics are going to get this ahead of time. They're going to have their scores up. They're going to have to give them a week to play it because they can't expect them to have the time. Maybe. Or lastly, just to round this whole thing out, John, or you know what? Buy it. Pre-order it and buy it. I don't recommend pre-ordering it, but if you want to get off work on Friday and go buy it, or take off work on Friday and go buy it and spend the entire day and you play it and you're disappointed with it, you know what? There's no advice in the world that's going to save you from sometimes not wasting your money and being disappointed by a thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're going to spend your money and you're going to take the game home, you're going to put it in and you're going to go, oh, fuck, this is horrible. I was lied to. This is no good. It happens, right?
Yeah, happens to me all the time.
Yep. If you
Fucking
don't
WWE games.
If you don't want that to happen, then the thing you have to do is to stop and figure it out. But the other thing is that I don't like the whole conversation about Final Fantasy and Avengers and a lot of the things that Square makes is that I don't like Kingdom Hearts 3, but I don't think Kingdom Hearts 3 is a bad game, right? Like, I think that Kingdom Hearts 3 is what it is, and that does not appeal to me. I do not think it is a bad quality video game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's for Jeff, because I expected the game to do like recap and explain to what was going on. The game was like, fuck you. If you don't know the story, then you can just eat my dick. And I was like, okay, well.
Yeah, it's kind of like my feelings with Grand Theft Auto 5.
Right.
I don't like Grand Theft Auto 5, but that doesn't mean it's a bad game.
Right.
Like, Grand Theft Auto 5 is a fucking, I acknowledge it is a fucking masterpiece of a game.
Yeah.
It's just not for me.
Yeah. So I don't know. Just try to take it a little easy. Let's see. Do you have time for one more? Time for one more here? I don't know if we have time for one more. I think we're gonna wrap it up there, John. I think it's been long enough.
All right, if you're cool with wrapping it up there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm prepared for more if you wanted to do more. But,
we're done.
Okay.
We're donezo.
All right.
Donezo. So thanks everybody for listening, and thanks for sending in your questions. Make sure to send your questions into mail@rageslide.com. We're getting very, very low on questions. We need more questions. Always be sending questions, and like I said last week, I will also accept interesting stories as well as questions, because who's up for a good story? Everybody's up for a good story. So send in your stories, send in your questions, send in your general feelings about things and your worries and your excitements, and go watch a bunch of those movies from the Academy Awards because they're good, and send us $1 million, right? I mean,
something like that.
I mean, either one of us. Maybe just split it between. No, we'll split it. You just send it over to us. We'll give you the bank account number. We're going to wire you $100, and then you're going to give us $100. Just mail@rageslide.com. Just send it over to me, and we'll get it figured out.